a manifold for Ford Raptor. I've just kind of I've exhausted the number of bad jokes I can make in like a minute about car shit. Also, completely unrelated to anything, but all right, let's dive in. So we're gonna be playing Stonewater today. Stonewater is a attempt at a mega project. The problem is I have absolutely no usable weapon materials. So all of the weapons that we have in the fortress are purchased, and we kind of got hit by a really bad Forgotten Beast as well as a really big siege, and it just kind of didn't end well. Yeah, it just kind of didn't end well. So we're gonna be trying to recover that. We're gonna try and like unscrew up this fortress more or less. Coolant with these puns? Oh no. Oh jeez. These puns need an oil change, chat. All right. In a couple of years, though, the sequel will be electric. What's even better is, like, I put a marker in the chat now, and, like, this is where I cut into the VOD for YouTube, so this is where people are going to start hearing us talking. All right, so the Forgotten Beast that we got hit by was big, scary, and it killed a lot of dwarves. And so the population of this fortress is 88. It was 160. You might rev up the chat. Oh boy. Still going. So the sad result is we did lose a lot of dwarves, but the goblins are gone now, and we are working on fixing this. As for the bads themselves, what ended up happening was we let a Forgotten Beast out of here, which in and of itself is okay. The issue is it kind of, you know, people are just going to constantly be found dead for a bit, because a lot of dwarves died in the making of this tunnel, which is a shame. I'll be honest. It is kind of a shame, but it's not Dwarf Fortress unless losing is fun, right? So the next little bit is just trying to, I guess eventually trying to just get these dwarves out of this tunnel, I suppose. Think we got enough mileage out of that one? Oh boy. You know, it's funny. I'm generally pro pun, but my god, this is just going. Right. So what I need to do is I need to seal off this pipe. I need to seal off this tunnel. There are a bunch of elk birds coming out of here, so I'm gonna unforbid this, and I'm going to go over here, and we are just going to put a cork in this. It doesn't matter what it is. Bloodthorn logs will work. As far as living dwarves in the fortress, we've got Acre, Snail, Darren, Pablo, Time and a Raff. These are all the living dwarves. Many dwarves have died in this fort. Farana as well, Lemond as well. We've got Uncle Funkalistic, Booty Wap, who's still the Holy Diamond, Onyx and Air, and Sanic, Animal, Bastet, Audio, Ghoster, Potato King, Tapioca, Hex Wrench, Rolf, Rory, and Spooky and Mistrunner, and Nortram. I've got hiccups for some reason. So, those are the living dwarves. If you would like a dwarf in this fort, just let me know. And we're going to be doing our best for the next little bit to deal with every single body that needs to be dealt with here, because there's a lot of them, and we got to memorialize all of these poor dwarves. Time for masterpiece coffins made of glass. Yeah, glass coffins. Which I always wonder, it's like, are glass coffins opaque in Dwarf Fortress? Got a free smith? I actually don't know. Like I said, there's, no. Both my metal workers are used. The problem is, or are taken. The problem is, we're glass makers, because all I have is gold. So I'm doing, like, no smithing, because it's outside of crafts, because it's kind of useless. So occasionally I'll be like, yeah, make some mugs or make some crafts to sell. But generally it's all glass. Glass indeed. Yes, I do say glass. Be a glass worker? Let's see if I can even find a free glass worker. Hold up. The thing is also a lot of dwarves just died, so. There's a glass maker, several. Do you want a legendary or not legendary? Glass is your favorite? It is like the best infinite material. And it's very useful for a lot of things, so. Legendary? Okay. We got two. That one, or this one. I'll give you Zulban. Yeah, we'll give you Zulban. Zulban. Wendigo. Wendigo. So you have one deity that you worship, who is Ral, a deity of the Rim of Savants. Most often takes the form of a male dwarf and is associated with wealth. Ral does curse vampires from time to time, so don't go punching his statues. One of the most popular gods in this fortress. You were afraid, reliving, experiencing trauma. Your right foot is broken, and your first toe on your left foot is smashed open, and your hand is dented, just like my finger. You are 84 years old, born on the 26th of Granite in the year 169. He has a broad body, made broader still by no shortage of surrounding lard. His very long sideburns are neatly combed, and his very long mustache is neatly combed, and his medium-length beard is arranged in double braids, and his hair is clean-shaven, and he has a round chin, and his extremely tall ears are extremely narrow. And his dark peach skin is wrinkled, you are covered with scars, and his hair is pale chestnut with a touch of gray. And he personally believes that it is important to conceal emotions and refrain from complaining, and values decorum, dignity, and proper behavior, and doesn't really value merrymaking, but dreams of raising a family. He is bashful after wearing tattered clothing in 250, slow to anger after suffering the travesty of art defacement in 250, and he sometimes acts with little determination and confidence. He doesn't often try to get things done perfectly, and he's slow to trust others. He doesn't mind a little tumult and discord in day-to-day living, and he has a greedy streak. He thinks he's fairly important in the grand scheme of things, and generally acts with a narrow focus on the current activity. He licks his lips when he's nervous, needs alcohol to get through the working day, and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Attach a beard to your nickname. Do you have a job preference? Currently, you are collecting sand, Wendigo, as part of making, well, 100 glass coffins, which is how many we currently have in process. Do you have a job preference, or do you just want a random one? Ask Rotor. So what do we think? Do you have a preference of job, or do you just want a random dwarf? Just let me know that. So the last thing that we were working on was just a whole bunch of lava, and getting this volcano lava flow to flow into my trap. The problem is, and the problem that we ran into, is that there just isn't enough lava. Like, frankly, there just straight up isn't enough lava. So we are in the process of setting up a secondary lava flow. No preferences? All right. Well, then you get a random dwarf. I will close my eyes and hold this button down for a few more seconds until we land on a dwarf right about now. What'd you get? You got Tomas, the Mason. Mask Rotor. Then the last season, she was content after putting on a superior item. You worship a deity named Az. Most often takes the form of a female dwarf and is associated with jewels. Not one I see very often. You have no family, but you do have friends. She has a narrow, broad body, which is made with almost no fat on it. Oh, wow. She is skinny. And her somewhat short ears are extremely narrow, and her tall head is extremely narrow. Her very long hair is tied in a ponytail, and her somewhat short eyebrows are quite dense. And her nose is slightly hooked, and her gold eyes are slightly protruding. Her hair is pale chestnut. She is 73 years old, born on the 8th of Timber in the year 180. She's incredibly quick to heal, incredibly tough and agile. Likes native silver, lead, and jasper. The color fuchsia, and flails and backpacks and animal traps, and the words of the wavy petal, and the sound of the healing guard, and the sight of the queen of dances. When possible, prefers to consume yak cheese and gutter cruer. Really? What are you, a human? And kangaroo's milk, and absolutely hates brown recluse spiders. She personally finds the quest for knowledge to be of the very highest value and values decorum and dignity as a high ideal, and is deeply offended by those who fail to fail to maintain it. We should put you in charge of a library. Do I even have a library in this fort? Occupation. No, we don't. You need to remind me that we need to make you a librarian when I make a library, because we will do that. Unable to make decisions without a great deal of input, and is gripped by crippling shyness. She's completely unmoved by art and beauty, and is conflicted by this, as she values artwork and its creation, can be very single-minded, and is often discouraged. She is brave in the face of imminent danger, and she can occasionally overindulge. She has little interest in joking around, and tries to do things correctly each time. Hold on, where was I? And she tends to avoid any physical confrontations and works to square this natural tendency with her respective martial prowess. And she prefers that everyone live as harmoniously as possible. Needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really worry about working outdoors. And she likes working outdoors and only grumbles mildly at crappy weather. I think that this dwarf might just straight up be like a human person. Because that's a weird crew. Goats! It's good to see you. Do I have any socks? Most of the dwarves have socks. I can neither confirm nor deny that all of them have socks. But how's goats? If I don't already, could you have a glassmaker of any status? Any status. All right, we'll give you Burr, then. Burr. Which is going to be... Trevor in VR. I think it is... There we go. You've killed a goblin. Here. Apparently. She feels euphoric due to inebriation and blissful after a bath. You also worship Ral, who once again is the deity of the Rim of Savants, most often takes the form of a male dwarf and is associated with wealth. Far and away the most popular god here. 80 years old, born on the 23rd of Hematite, near 173. She is short and her nose is sharply hooked. She has a very broad chin, and her hair is clean-shaven. Her somewhat narrow ears are slightly flattened, and her peach skin is slightly wrinkled. Her hair is pale chestnut, with a touch of gray, and her eyes are gold. She personally sees the denial of impulses as vain and foolish pursuit. Views loyalty unfavorably, and dreams of mastering a skill. She takes no pleasure in her talents and appearance, and she tends to think before acting. She rarely feels discouraged, and she can handle stress. She is trusting, and she tries to keep her things orderly, and she is grateful when others help her out. She tries to return favors, and she tends to be a little tight with resources when working on projects. She shakes her finger up and down when she's trying to remember something and needs alcohol to get through the working day, and doesn't really care about anything anymore. You never wear socks? I never wear socks indoors, unless it's like in the middle of winter. So this is the Forgotten Beast that fucked us up real bad. Galka, which basically was just a fire-breathing kangaroo. Or not kangaroo, it was a fire-breathing something. No, the kangaroo was slightly after. Anyway, it was a fire-breathing something. And it caused problems when it got here. It killed multiple entire squads. It was rough. The entire military that I did have went from, it was like multiple full squads down to just 8. Which, you know, it's a pretty good time. Pretty good time, I would say. We are trying to recover them. I have recruited a bunch of new recruits into it. I think Mistrunner is the only remaining, yeah. Oh, no, sorry, it wasn't that capital M. That capital M was different. It was Lun Saffron Mornings. That was the fire-breathing kangaroo that caused us a lot of problems, which we're also working on dealing with. It was a rough siege. I'll put it that way. It was a rough siege. What are you carrying? Is that a human's corpse? It is in fact a human's corpse. So the mega project for this fort is this. The problem is that I'm dealing with currently is filling this up with lava, which is proving to be more difficult than I wanted it to be. But we are working on it, and once we get there, we will get it filled. I am currently working on this extra little vertical like lava storage device, which is just gonna pump lava in through the sides, and hopefully that will assist with the filling of the volcano. Don't mind the bodies. They're just part of the decor at this point. There's Orion's body, which is a damn shame, frankly. Zoom Zang as well, hello. Investments are open, chat, if you guys want to invest your tickets. And Goats as well. You're doing fine. You've been partaking in Dwarf Fortress within a range of 2 towers. Ooh. Waiting for the traders. Well, good luck. That's all I have to say to that is good luck. Gonna be very busy. Let's make you available for burial and you available for burial. Currently, the main issue is I just have too many jobs to do. Many jobs. To the point where I might just go into here and just be like, yeah, let's cancel everything. In fact, you know what? I think we're just gonna straight up do that. Let's just cancel everything. Let's just let the dwarves go make what they need to make and go get what they need to get, because that's what we need. Because we need to get all these bodies put away. And I also need this frame rate to come back, because currently it's real slow. To the point where, like, I'm concerned that there's, like, a cat stuck somewhere. But looks like we are, in fact, finally starting to put bodies into tombs, which is a good thing. It's surprisingly peaceful, and it makes you worried. You know, like, it's... Towers are real fun, because they're either completely unremarkable, or they're just gonna, like, insta-gib you, right? And there's, like, no in-between. I think that just fixed it. Yeah, that just increased my frame rate by, like, 10. Cool. Actually, no, it, like, tripled my frame rate. Literally just unlocking a trap. Excellent. Yeah, so this fortress is pretty damn cool, though. I'm quite happy with it as it's been going along. Like, the valiant moments of defense against a swamp titan. Yes, some migrants have arrived. And you're carrying an axe. Well, that's the most valuable thing I've seen all day. Dreams of creating great work of art. She personally considers craft dwarfship to be relatively worthless. Flights of fancy, distraction. You know what? How about you just go join the uncommon whatevers they were called. The uncommon earths. Uncommon dwarf. Okay, you dream of raising a family. How about you? Mastering a skill. Tends to share our own experiences and thoughts with others. And doesn't mind a little tumult in Discord in day-to-day living. I use Discord every day. Shouldn't be covering these dudes. You are a clother, though. You know what? You can also join the military. What about... that's a donkey. Well, we can eat that. I mean, like, in the fort that we were playing yesterday, right? Like, there was... not a necromancer tower right next to it, but there was a necromancer tower. And we went and attacked it. And, like, the first time we sieged it, we killed a bunch of necromancers, and then it was just empty after that. Like, all that was there was just, like, half dozen necromancers, and that was it. Let's just take a quick peek at these. Dreams of mastering a skill. Generally quite confident in his abilities. Cool. Glassmaker, you'll be right at home here. Dreams of creating a great work of art. Excellent. When it comes to necromancers, I guess there's just insanely vengeful or just chill. Yeah, they're either like just sitting inside writing books for years and weeks and months on end, or they're just like, fight my army of 50 flesh balls with wings that breathe fire and shoot webs out of their butts somehow. Blah! It's like they're one of the two. And also, by the way, here have 5,000 zombies. They're either just like librarians or like Happy fun time murder hobos. How's the population doing? Back up to 95. Another mechanic. That's 2 total mechanics, which actually is great because we need those for the pump stacks. And of course, is that a reindeer? That is in fact a reindeer. We'll eat that. Wait, well, we're back up to 95. Still placing things in tombs. There's a lot of things that need to go in tombs. Goth dudes are... Isn't that just goth dudes or goth dudes? I mean, aren't those 2 the same things? So I would like to beg to differ. I do believe those are the same thing. It's like murder cultists or goth dudes. It's like, well, I mean, personally, I think those are the same thing, but. All right. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. Let's go all the way up to here. And over to here. Over to there. And right to there. And then we'll put the floodgate at the beginning. Let's make this more interesting looking and give it nicer corners. I feel like just like rounding off corners like this helps quite a bit when making these look cool. This is gonna take forever to fill, though. Like, I can't even... And it's gonna take a lot of lava. Like, a whole lot of lava. Which is the problem that I'm running into. The ones that kill versus the ones that just wear black and brood. I mean, sure. when it comes to, like, low fantasy, like, goth dudes, though, I believe that they probably all kill. Like, let's be honest. They're all kind of cultists at heart. Mr. Mac. Man, that poor dwarf. So many death. Alright, let's see if we can place some more coffins. So I'm sure I got plenty. Yep, 42. Of course, if anybody else wants a dwarf, just give me a shout. We do, like I said, have plenty. So, can absolutely get some more people named if you would like a dwarf. Your guaranteed survival is not a thing, so don't expect survival necessarily, but I just kind of go with the flow. I don't like pre-planning. I think pre-planning leads to disappointment, because I like, you know, like you'll spend an hour like planning a layer, and then you dig into the caverns. I mean, what kind of dwarf do you want, NetJam? Give me a job title, and I'll see if I can get you a dwarf. But I don't know. I don't really do much pre-planning. I usually just kind of start with a few rooms, and then I just kind of build out from there. And just kind of go with what the game's geometry gives me. Craftsman? Crafts dwarf, I think you mean. But we got crafts dwarf right there. Locum. Net. Jam. Junior. Unless you already had a dwarf in this fort. I think you did. No, you don't. She feels satisfied at work and says, I finished up some work. I'm very satisfied. She didn't feel anything after seeing the Swamp Titan Lun Saffron Morning's The Rains of Waste's dead body. She is 84 years old, born on the 24th of Sandstone in the year 169. The baby in Long Death. Yeah, I still had to check. Because even now I can't remember who's in what fort. She is 84 years old, born in the 24th of Sandstone in the year 169. Extremely narrow. Her ears are extremely narrow, and her tall head is extremely narrow. Her gold eyes are close set, and her dark tan skin is wrinkled slightly. Her nose is somewhat narrow, and her hair is neatly combed, and her hair is pale chestnut with a touch of gray. She likes nickel shoral, log hopper bone, battle axes, and shields. Rings and green devourers for their bizarre appearance. I don't know what a green devourer is, but damn. Bambara and ground nut plants for their edible nuts, and the sound of the poetry tone, and when possible, she prefers to consume barley wine, and you can't stand toads. I like barley wine. Barley wine's great. Personally, values tradition and values hard work and respects power. She dreams of raising a family. She prefers to be alone and accepts favors without developing a sense of obligation. Preferring to have without a sense of obligation, preferring to act as the current situation demands. She is brave in the face of imminent danger, and she has an active sense of humor. And she generally acts impartially, and she's rarely moved to mercy. And she likes to take it easy, and she is not particularly interested in what others think of her. She is quite comfortable with others that have a different appearance or culture, and she needs alcohol to get through the working day. Doesn't really care about anything anymore. And we also have all of these, by the way, which is a very, very, very large number of pumps, which is something I'm actually going to be using to power, a good deal of stuff in the future. Because, these towers are going to require a lot of power once they're actually functioning. To be fair, no one in this fortress really cares about anything anymore. Like, at all. Is there even wait, what do you mean, is there even a cloth industry? I mean, not currently. Your first fort died? Well, congratulations. You're officially playing Dwarf Fortress. Hope it was an enjoyable death. You can't wait to start another one? Hell yeah. You have any plans for the second one, or are you just going to kind of go on the seat of your pants? What killed the first one, if I can ask, actually? That's always a fun ask. You'd like a glass dwarf if one is still available, Space Pirate? All right. I do, in fact, have some available. Urist, Space Pirate. Urist is a space pirate. Would you look at that? Also, worshiper of Ral, the deity of wealth. You don't feel anything after seeing a forgotten beast's dead body. 55 years old, born on the 12th of Opal in the year 198. Weak and short, and he has a round chin and a nose bridge that's incredibly concave. His nose is sharply hooked, his sideburns are clean shaven, and his mustache is arranged in double braids. He has a very long beard, which is neatly combed, and a very long hair that is also arranged in double braids. His ears are extremely tall, and his gold eyes are somewhat narrow. His hair is pale chestnut, and his skin is burnt umber. He personally respects perseverance, values peace over war, and doesn't particularly care about craftsmanship, and dreams of creating a great work of art. Often finds himself changing his mind to agree with somebody else, and he is an optimist. He tends to be a little wasteful when working on projects, and he can handle stress. He does not often feel lustful, and he tends to avoid crowds. And he sometimes acts with little determination and confidence. He rarely feels discouraged and is open and finds helping others to be emotionally rewarding. Often feels envious of others and tends to consider what others think of him. And he can sometimes act without deliberation, and when he gets excited, he often starts talking to himself. And he scratches his head when he's thinking. Me too. And when he's thinking, his body becomes very still. Wait, hold on. He scratches his head when he's thinking, but when he's thinking, he also becomes still. So his body becomes still, but he scratches his head. All right. Needs alcohol to get through the working day. And Pink Fluffy Llama. Thanks for the 20th month. Welcome back. Cheers.
Bloody hell. 20 months.
Thank you very much for the second notification of money of the day. The first one was a gifted sub an hour ago. Appreciate you, dude. Especially because, today we are officially 1 month out from the day that chat went a little bit bananas. And I say a little bit bananas because of that sub count. So we're going to be dropping like 600 subs today, which is very fair. So I do appreciate the 20 months and the keeping of the subs alive. Holy hell, what happened? Animal and Navy and a bunch of other people all went a little nuts because it was September. Subs were on sale. It was free real estate. 936 subs. Yeah, it's supposed to be around 250. There was a couple gifts got given out at the end of last month. Shit was on sale, man. Let's unsuspend these. Just a few? Yes, just a few. Alright, there we go. More places to put bodies. Curious where the Dwarf's even getting pieces from. A forest titan with metal skin and web spitting just steamrolled. Oh, damn. I think that would kill this fort. That's intense, dude. Forest titan just shows up spitting. Spitting webs. Everybody falls over. Yeah, no, I think that would probably kill this fort. if it got in. That's rough. That's a brutal adversary. I only ever had one metal web spitter, and it did in fact kill my entire fort. Chat, can I please get a round of beers for the 20th month? By the way, I know that there's 50 of you here. We can get that. Come on. Just type in the word beer, or my beer emote, or the beers emoji, or Crypt Burr, my follower beer emote. Thank you, chat room. Much appreciated. You know, honestly, Raz, I should make extra ease work. Just have like a bunch of other options that just add more ease. All right, now I think we've now that the bot is sufficiently drunk. Much better. I do say. You didn't get paid your cost of living bonus today again? Oh, I don't know what that sentence means. What's a cost of living bonus? What do you mean you didn't get paid today again? Oopsies. No, don't make that into a room. I've never heard of a cost of living bonus, which is why I asked. Yeah, I've heard of cost of living raises. You know, those are generally annual, but... I mean, currently here we're... Oh, there goes more bodies. Wendigo's carrying a body. Welcome to the fort. Now go bury your old friends. Until they reevaluate your salaries, but, like, they failed to, I gather? That's an interesting way to do it. Just give everybody a bonus until they figure out how to fix shit. That seems a little sketch, if I'm being honest. You think the accountant failed to click the right button again? Oh, no. Yeah, that's not good. All right, we're going to throw a fortification in right here. That's what happened last month? That seems bad. That seems like not the sort of thing you want to have happen at a work environment. Right, so we are working on this little drawbridge down here. I'm sure somebody's working on it. We're still building Gabbro mechanisms. See multiple people constructing buildings. Yeah. Oh shit, there's a ghost. Oh boy. I hope that your body's gonna get put away. Ah, I see. I do actually have a bunch of memorials that I can put away. I'm gonna put a bunch of them down here because this is where a large number of the dwarves died, so might as well put their memorials here. But as always, if anybody has any questions about DF or needs live examples or explanations or assistance on things, just give me a shout. God, there's so many. Many of the bodies just straight up burned, too, because, you know, fire-breathing critter. Any masons? I've definitely got many masons and stoneworkers. I mean, we have like I think 95 dwarves in the fort right now. So once I finish placing these memorials, I will show you some options. We'll see if we can find a dwarf that's right for you. Yeah, that's my stoneworkers and masons. I mean, Got a whole bunch of masons, got a whole bunch of stoneworkers, and a whole bunch of miners. What do you want? Nope, this is straight vanilla. And Tolis, I hope you're feeling all right. Still in pain? Well, hopefully it's going down. Depends on what I have. There's not like rugs or and tapestries. Well, there's engravings. Engravings are kind of like a tapestry. Statues. There's pedestals. You can make glass windows. It really depends on what's in the fort. This fort, I mean, this whole thing is gaudy as fuck because it's like we've got these bloodthorn drawbridges, green glass drawbridges, and then gold drawbridges. So it's like this area is gaudy as all hell. Giant cave bear. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Giant elephant rug would also be pretty stylish, eh? That would indeed be styling. Also, I've got a thing that we gotta finish hooking up. Green door. Yes, let's unsuspend all of these. Let's get those hooked up. So that I can slam all of these drawbridges shut. So the reason there's so many bodies coming in from off map or outside of the fort is because during the last siege we got a, or right before the last siege we got a migrant wave. None of them made it in. You know, I've always wanted there to be like not tapestries, but like rugs and things that you could put on the ground. I mean, currently like you can engrave the floor, which is pretty close. But mason, please. Let's see if we can give you mason. Do you want? Oh, let's go with Rovod. Rovod, who is a legendary mason goats named Goats. He feels lonely after being away from his family for too long, and uneasy after being unable to acquire something for too long. You do have a pet cat, who is gelded, and a small mammalian carnivore. He is weak, and his hair is pale taupe. His ears are occur in his tall black, and his tail is black, and his head is cinnamon, and his front paws are dark brown. His rear paws are light brown, and his skin is pale pink, and his eyes are green. 62 years old and is a worshiper of Eshal, who is one of the more interesting gods, is a deity of the Rim of Savants. Most often takes the form of a female cave spider and is associated with hunting, fishing, fish, rivers, lakes, and oceans. So you worship a spoder god, and you have a pet kitty. He is incredibly muscular. His sideburns are clean shaven, and his very long mustache is neatly combed. Very long beard is arranged in double braids, and his short hair is neatly combed. His nose bridge is incredibly concave, and his gold eyes are somewhat narrow. His nose is slightly hooked, and his hair is pale chestnut, and his skin is pale pink. It was cool to build an arena and throw inside a Cyclops and a Gorlak, who will be the winner. Definitely the Cyclops, I think. But do your dwarves a favor and make sure that the player can see in the arena, but the dwarves can't, because it will scar some of the dwarves for life. A lot of them do not like seeing violence. Unless you want some stressed dwarves, in which case, more power to you. Likes Gabbro, Black Bronze, Shoral, King Cobra Tooth, Buckets, and Cats for their aloofness, and the giant red pandas for their striped tails, and the wild, and the words of the wild wine, and you absolutely... Oh, sorry, and the wild bulb and the sound of the healing guard. There we go. And when possibly prefer to consume char, bayberry, wine, and you hate snails. Personally, finds the acquisition of power over others to be abhorrent. Would have all masters toppled. After seeing Ashen Strapped Die's dead body in 247. Values nature and sees sacrifices wasteful and foolish. Values decorum, dignity, and proper behavior, and dreams of creating a great work of art, and this dream was realized. He cleaves an austere lifestyle, disdaining even minor immodesties in appearance. He often finds himself changing his mind to agree with somebody else and generally acts with him partially, and tends and is rarely moved to mercy. You know, this dwarf seems kind of like an emo scene kid. You're stupid. Hello. Hello. How are you? Can handle stress and has a noticeable lack of perseverance, and tends to ask for help with difficult decisions. Needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really mind being outdoors, at least for a time, and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Welcome to the fort, goats. Welcome to the fort. We don't have any goats in the fort, but we do have elephants. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've enjoyed. I built an arena once, and I pitted a bunch of humans and a bunch of cavern monsters against each other. And we got a very silly moment, which made myself laugh hysterically for longer than I should have, because we had a bear die next, or a cave bear, die next to a human, die next to a troll, and a cave toad, die next to a spider, so an S. So they spelled butts. See, that kind of unintended humor is not going to be possible when the game has graphics. Only in ASCII can the dead bodies of your enemies spell funny words like butts. Has anybody ever, like, written words on walls using lettered engravings? Just, like, engrave a picture of a goat, a picture of a, I don't know, something that's an O, and then a picture of something that's an A, and then a picture of, I don't know, a troll, and then it just says goat on the wall. I don't know if anybody ever does that, but, like, I'm always tempted to whenever I see those. I'm like, could do that. That'd be really silly. You know what? Let's just put a lever here. Spelling obscenities. I don't know if butts counts as an obscenity, but be like, it's not like it's spelled shit or fuck or something. Although whenever humans arrive and there's just random like wordings, it's like, man, did you have to bring a cow and a mule, human? Be fun if you could get it to spell your fort's name. I mean, I could do Stonewater, I think. All right, so this is going to get attached to this glass bridge down here. And then we can fill this thing all the way up with lava. And then we can use that to fill this. Let's put a fortification right there. This is all diorite. Yeah, this will all melt. That'll be fine. Okay, whose cat is that? Oh, this is the one that's super injured. Right. We have a very injured cat in this fortress who joined in a fight with bad things. Lava fortifications? It's so the lava can flow through it, but we're doing a lot of shenanigans with lava in this map. Like, this is the surface of the map. Because volcanoes, I find in Dwarf Fort, are a little bit boring. Like, they don't look that cool. Like, they're kind of tiny. So I made this huge lava lake on the surface. I literally chiseled down the mountain around the edge of it. And I've got big-ass bridges, which allow me to control the flow of it and create massive lava flows on either side of the fort. It's pretty badass, honestly. The problem is that it's supposed to fill this, but I haven't been able to get enough lava to fill that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can fill it using this container and lava flow. And if that doesn't work, then I'm just going to make a separate one and we'll use pumps. Because I've got like, how much power is this fucking thing generating? This thing's generating 6,800 power right now. So I could absolutely just like pump lava in there. I don't want to pump it if I don't need to. I'd rather just let it flow. It's incredibly badass. Well, thank you. So yeah, no, that's kind of what this thing is. I just need to fill this whole container thingy up with lava, although we do need to get this cat out of here. Just allow them to use that door. Like, we gotta get this cat out of here, guys. It's Ineth. Let's see if I can just pasture it. I've got a cavey pup. Puppies. Where'd that cat go? Ineth. Also, if I've forgotten to name somebody's dwarf, give somebody a dwarf, just give me a shout. We're still placing items in tombs. Second snatcher's been caged. Hell yeah. You know, honestly, like it's nice to start seeing kid snatchers again. And people, I know some people who they've started popping up in their forts. It's nice to see them again because like it's felt like forever since I've actively seen them. What's your dwarf's job again? Did I give you a dwarf in this fort, Raph? I think I did. What is... Like, I'm like mostly certain I did. Roll for a... Spooky, Air, Onyx, Aqua. There you are. You are an engraver. And you don't feel anything. And you're bored. You're bored and you don't feel anything. And you say that you claim that the quest for knowledge never ends. Dream of mastering a skill. Crippling shyness. Very important job. Currently, you are putting stuff in a stockpile and pushing a wheelbarrow. It's a very honorable dwarfy job. Oopsies. Yeah, cat's still down here. I'm assuming this dwarf is coming to remove the cat. Yep. Or in fact, coming to remove the cat. Alright, so. I'm thinking the only way I can really do this... Yeah, okay, I know how I know how I'm gonna lay this out now. This might... I might have to sacrifice a dwarf to actually make this happen. But I'm going to do my damnedest to do it safely. This is one of those kind of... There's almost no safe way to, you know, make lava flow, so... I will do it as safely as possible. We'll use a doorway airlock and cross fingers. Wait, so you want me to name the dwarf that possibly volunteers their life to make lava flow after you? Is that what you're asking? Okay, so that's been set up. We'll pull this lever, see if that pops up the drawbridge, and if it does, then we are good to go. We just need to seal some stuff off and wait for that dwarf to pull the cat out of here. I mean, I will do my damnedest, but, like, can't really guarantee much, unfortunately. Like, I'm not going to intentionally sacrifice a dwarf, but can't really guarantee much, unfortunately. There you go. Keep working on that. I love that this dwarf just keeps getting themselves stuck in here. It's okay. There's someone else coming to cut the other side of that. I also got to say, I'm very happy with how the bedrooms in this fort have turned out. Like, there's something about this bedroom layout that just looks kind of badass to me. I'm quite happy with it. Even though, like, the ones at the end here are, like, completely unconstructed. But, like... I don't know. Everybody just has massive, gaudy bedrooms, and they all just look kind of awesome. So, very happy with the bedrooms in this fort. Especially the more recent ones, because all of the wood that I have in this fort is bloodthorn, because there's that cavern layer that's entirely bloodthorn, so it's like red beds. They just look kind of awesome. Door, rock. Might actually make glass portals, but... Alright, let's just see if we can smooth all this real quick. Might as well make it look slightly presentable. Let's just get rid of this. Down here on this side. What is this texture pack? Exclamation point tile set if you want it. It's a modified version of Krug Smash's tile set. I don't think it actually has an official name aside from Krug Smash's tile set. Vakar, the Dwarven child, withdraws from society. Alright. Aqua, how thing? Let's see what this kiddo goes and does. Running off this way. Right. There's two separate religions in this in this fort that both worship the same god. And they both have slightly different naming schemes. Those two religions are, where are they? The Jade Creed and the Fellowship of Jades. So they both worship the same god. One does have considerably more worshippers. I want to say it's the Jade Creed, or sorry, no, the Fellowship of Jade has a significantly larger worshipping base in this fortress than the other one, but they're both quite large religions. Like, they both have like 30-something dwarves in the fort that worship them. But they both worship the same god. So I've got two specific temples for them, and then like just my generic anything temple is just like a patch of square on the ground. So I need to build a nice temple for just my everybody else. So that's gonna be one of the projects for today, outside of like working on reflowing the lava and redirecting stuff and all that stuff. So hopefully we can get things done nicely today. Down with the Creed Heretics? Yeah, I kind of like it. I mean, to me, it's kind of like it draws a little bit of headcanon like surrounding. Oh, do I not have a manager? What's going on? What's going on? I do in fact have a manager. What the heck are you doing, Saigon? You should put them in the tavern and then throw tomatoes at them. And moon them. That's what you should do, I think. Or chain them up and, like, dump lava on their heads. They tried to kill your kids. I think they deserve... Or they tried to kidnap your kids. I think that they should remain kidnapped. In before the kidnapper is the one that gets napped, you know what I'm saying? Well, the vast majority of dwarves are just telling stories right now. And my manager is storing item in stockpile. Well, that explains why that's not getting done. Oh, and it's a dead troll. Oh my god. You really need some new shoes. Okay, let's make 50 leather shoes. Let's see. How are we doing on cloth? Quite good. Okay, we need to make clothing. We need to do a round of clothing. What do we have the most of? Wow, I've got a lot of like pigtail and we've got a lot of plant cloth. I didn't realize that. Okay. Let's make 50 cloth dresses. Shirt, 50. Sock, cloth, 50. Cloth, glove, 50. Cloth, mitten, 50. Cloth, hood, 50. Let's get all of those done, and we'll just forbid that and let you run home and get some food because this dwarf is thirsty and hungry. You have cheese, tomato puree, and bread making stuff. So tonight you're making pizza. Ooh. I don't know what I'm gonna do for dinner tonight. I know what I'm doing for dinner tomorrow night, but tonight might just be my pre-made pasta because I did pre-make pasta for the whole week. But no, recently I've just been reveling in actually getting some like in getting a video that's doing rather well on YouTube, and it's been very nice. It's like I can still put my VODs up on YouTube and they get like 40, 50 views in the first day, 100 over a few days, but it's like, this video is doing redonkulously well. This thing, like, it's been a long time since I've gotten that many views in 4 days. That'll probably be like a $60, $70 video if it keeps up at the rate it's going, which is nice. Although, actually, something I'm very excited about Halloween is on Halloween, on the 31st, I get to open up my last jar of sauerkraut for the year. I mean, it's just my most recent video, but I can in fact link it. Or my second most recent. Hey, little son, what's up? Did I even link the right video? Nope, super duper linked to the wrong video. That's the right one. First video I posted is something we were talking about earlier. But those are a few views. It is a few, yeah. It's a fair few more than I'm used to, too. I can't say that I've ever actually sold goblins to dwarves. I feel like the goblins would just escape from the... I beg your fucking pardon. Huh. Well. Then. I've never seen a cave dragon before. Blink, blink, blink. Wow. Huh. That's not a common occurrence. Well, we got to figure out what to do with it. Hopefully we can catch it. Her scales are white. She's white. Her eyes are green. Gigantic monster. Once a dragon. Now adapted. And polluted by the underground. Wings fell limp at its side, and its face is full of an incredibly long teeth. Its eyes are large to penetrate the darkness. Wow. All right, well, I don't think they're Trapovoid, are they? Which would mean, in theory, it could get caught in one of these. We are caged up. Let's just keep an eye on it. Mega project now to capture. No, I mean, the mega project's still the mega project, but damn right I want to capture this dragon. Perfect subject for an arena? Why not breeding and taming? I mean, this is my first time ever actually seeing a cave dragon, fun fact. Never seen one before. I've seen several on the Earth surface, but... Can you breed with only one? No. Damn. Eat delicious egg, yeah? Although, do cave dragons lay eggs? Can I believe that you used to have videos with 35,000 views? Yeah. I know a friend of mine has 2 separate videos that have 1 million+ views. One was literally titled, "Let's Play Counter-Strike." What's even better is he That video had music in the background that he didn't own, so he wouldn't have been able to monetize it anyway. And he didn't even know that that video got so many views until, because it was on an old account that he didn't use anymore. And he was just randomly surfing YouTube, and YouTube served him his own video via the algorithm. And he's like, oh, what? Which is very funny to me. Also, by the way, Zero Sievert, that little, like, 2D Escape from Tarkov game, goes into early access on the 15th of November. Looking forward to that. That'll be fun. The algorithm knows he likes it. Well, he was shocked. It was quite funny. You're gonna play that one as well, Navy? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's gonna be it's a good gameplay loop. You know, like the extraction shooter style of gameplay it's a fun gameplay loop. But I don't ever want to play any of them because they're all multiplayer. It's like if someone could just make a good one that's single player, like that's neat, and it's gonna be in early access. So we'll be playing a bunch of that. Probably do like it. Actually, what day of the week is the 15th? Tuesday? Yeah, I'll probably do a full day of it. If I had to guess. Unless Dwarf Fortress is out by then. In which case, then I will forget every other video game exists forever. I'm going to see if I can get a good screenshot of this thing. Put it up on Twitter. There we go. Perfect. So, chat, you want to learn how to get blocked on Twitter with one tweet? Be this person. If you want to have a beautiful Twitch banner, ats a bunch of people, links to a Google site. That's how you get blocked on Twitter. Just no question. That's how you get blocked on Twitter. Should have bought a domain. New mistake. Well, here's the thing, right? All of those banners that those people use and all of those art samples are purchased and being resold. Like they're generally like stolen art assets. All right, so got dwarves just like running out and in here. Like these dwarves are brave. They're just like walking into this cave, or out into this area with cages and stuff, wheelbarrows. Let's just place more cage traps. Let's just place cage traps around periodically. I want to try and catch this dragon, especially if there are cave dragons. We need to, you know, bait them into the fort, right? Let's also hack down some of these blood thorns up here. Worst case scenario, I force the dwarves into the burrow up in the tavern. You've already ballsed up and used the wrong flower? Wrong flower? What? Dragon? There hasn't been a dragon in these parts in thousands of years. There you go. For your pizza. When you said wrong flower, I'm just like imagining like you bought a rose and we're intending to buy roses, but instead bought something else, and now somebody's mad at you. That like my brain went to flowers. Person just asked me about whether or not Dwarf Fortress is going to support multiple languages on Steam. And for a very brief second before I responded with, no, just English, I thought about saying, yes, Dwarfish, Elvish, Goblin, Kobold, Angel Speak. Okay, we're working on our dresses. We're going to have to keep tabs on that dragon, though, because I don't want my dwarves to just randomly get eaten by it. Down to here seems ready. Up to here seems ready. All right, let's... block that with andesite. We're going to... Really? Are you for real? No one started making me rock doors? Guys, get those doors built. You lazy bastards. Jeez, I need a door. Shouldn't be that difficult to give me a door. I'm kind of worried that the dragon left now. We're gonna need to, like, fill these cavern layers as much as humanly possible. With as many cages as possible, because that dragon just kind of showed up, now it's walked off the edge of the map, and I'm worried. It's gone. Also, for some reason, I thought that cave dragons were like Forgotten Beasts, where you got a notification when one showed up. And that I didn't realize that they were just kind of like an animal type that just walked across the map like these ones did. Okay, who's felling trees? You're felling trees. These are the brave dwarves running to the spots where the dragon was. Let's do one up here. I'm actually using these tree chopping dwarves as guinea pigs to like go deeper into the cavern layers. Regular dragons are absolutely no. Like if a normal dragon shows up, it's like a titan shows up. You get a big full screen pop up saying a dragon has come. Blah 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 blah. Something flames. But I mean, this thing just like walked across the map. And that was it. You know, you talking about flour reminds me of like something that had happened. A family friend years ago was celebrating a 50th wedding anniversary with his wife, right? And I was sitting there and I was listening to him talk with somebody else that they knew at the event, and he says, "What's your wife's favorite flower?" Like intending to like, you know, buy bouquets for the 50th anniversary. You know what his response was? Robin Hood. That's how you know that you've been married for too long. Raw adamantine. Praise the miners. It appears that dragon has wandered away. Well, I guess we will be building a lot of cage traps down here then. If it's left the map, that's fine. But we're going to just simply have to do a better job of prepping for the next one. Because if there's one, there's going to be more than one. Ooh. Creeping eye nail. Splattering of creeping eye blood. Or whatever. Ichor, apparently. We do have quite a bit more unseen space, though. So we're going to do that next. Turns out, telling dwarves to just chop down trees is a pretty effective way of exploring caverns. Also, chat investments are open if you want to invest your tickets. Bunch of dead creeping eyes. I wonder if that was the dragons doing. Still no eyes on the dragon, though. Also, just as a reminder, chat, I normally stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, right? But on the day before Halloween on the 30th, It's kind of a special day for me because it is my 4-year anniversary of being a Twitch partner. So we're going to be streaming some Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 because that is one of the games that I got my start on Twitch. So we're going to be playing Roller Coaster Tycoon for a few hours on Sunday. It's kind of a, yay, I've been a Twitch partner for a very long time celebration thingy. Vakar, the Dwarven child, has created Sesh Halmesh, an Adicite amulet, and claims it as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor, Good Fences. You what now? You heard me. I think. It's worth nice 600, and it's called the Socketed Gleams. This is an andesite amulet. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. I mean, just got to make some time on his Sunday, Peter. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with regular rectangular andesite cabochons and oval diorite cabochons, and encircled with bands of swamp titan bone and sheep's wool and llama wool. This object menaces with spikes of gold, reindeer bone, and on the item is an image of dwarves in durian wood. The dwarves are traveling. The artwork relates to the foundation of Stonewater by the scorching lobster of the rim of Savants in the early spring of 241. On the item is an image of dwarves in clear garnet. The dwarves are traveling. The artwork, of course, relates to the foundation of Stonewater by the scorching lobster of the rim of Savants in the early spring of 241. That's actually a really cool little artifact. I like that one. Good job, kiddo. Your lazy bastard of a dough ball needs to rest. You sure you're talking about pizza and not your pet hamster? I mean, come on. Hard to tell, to be honest. More adamantine, praise the miners. So much surface adamantine down here. Yeah. Cave dragon seems to be gonzos. Hey, Soul Shiner. The unbelievable coincidence, someone decided to make homemade pizza in the same instance and being talked about in chat. I mean, I don't think it's that weird of a coincidence. We had a cave dragon walk through the map. So now I'm clearing and exploring the entire cavern layer and trying to set up cage traps to maybe catch one. Because I'm hoping there will be more. I've only seen the one, though, and it walked off the map from what I can tell. So, but we know that there are cave dragons about, which means gotta try and catch one. Also, yeah, sorry for your lost diamond. You saw one of my videos the other day. Sorry, I missed this sentence when it first popped up as I was reading about pizza. I saw one of your videos the other day, and it was about a magic game with a really complex magic system and a roguelike theme. You can't find the video game or remember the name. Do I remember the name? The video was me talking with the dev. Was it Rift Wizard? I mean, you could also go through my interviews playlist, but was it Rift Wizard? This game? That's like the most magic-based game thing that I could think of. That I've done a video on. Or videos, I suppose. Rift Wizard is the most fucking galaxy brain game I've ever played. It's like, I wish I was smart enough to be good at that game. It's a cool game, though, but Like, jeez. Apparently Twitch updated their community guidelines and people are mad. But I haven't looked at them yet. Interesting. Need to be a chess master to play that game at an average level? I don't know about that. I think you just need to be really good at reading and processing information the first time you read it and understanding what that information means. All right, I've closed Rift Wizard now. Hey, the dwarves are here to trade. Cool. I too like Dwarf Fortress. Those are... That's Cyrillic. What are those little tiny backwards R's? You only beat a run of Rift Wizard once. Game is brutal. Yeah, I've made it to... It was like floor 18 once and never really bothered again since. If you want it, just type an exclamation point tile set. You know, honestly, like, I really like the existence of Rift Wizard because it's inspired several other games that I think I'm going to end up enjoying more than Rift Wizard. One of those just being Path of Akra, which is a free game, which I've streamed it once now and made a couple videos of. It's like, this game wouldn't exist without Rift Wizard. Just at all. Which is really cool. Because, like, it's very much just, yeah, it's another game about just making Galaxy Brain builds, but in a much more approachable kind of setup and system. So let's check. Yeah, no more cave dragons, just the one. That's a shame. I mean, there still is tons of cavern I haven't re-explored yet, but... Oh, shit, jabberers. I guess worst case scenarios, we'll just end up catching a bunch of jabberers. Just gonna keep plopping cages down here. I really, really, really want to catch one of those, but... Yeah, the Caves of Cut is the cheapest it's going to be until post 1.0 because they're going to raise the price again. And Jupiter Hell is 18 bucks right now. Someone earlier in chat mentioned that they picked up Jupiter Hell. Game's fantastic. Yeah, no, a lot of stuff's on sale currently. We're getting close to that time of year, you know. Big, hefty, deep sales, because holiday. Something that I think is really funny, though, is, and I talked about this a little bit right at the beginning of the stream, but Steam is making a change. As of January 1st, you will no longer be able to just name your release date as whatever. You will have to either set it as an actual release date or coming soon. And apparently the reasoning for this is because Steam doesn't want, or Steam's been running into issues with like localization on release dates, and they want the release dates to be in people's like native language and stuff, which is actually a very good change. But it does make me kind of sad that we won't be able to have any more of those like really silly like like dumb release dates, you know? And before December 31st, 2099. Yeah, no, totally. But it's like, I mean, the guys over at New Blood have stated they're like, I think we're part of the problem because it's just like soon is all of their release dates and like various other memes they've had in the past for their release dates. Like Kit Fox has been pretty bad for that and like a lot of other companies have, but I do enjoy that. Oh, yeah. You wonder if a workshop will mean... There will be workshop support. We just don't know exactly the extent of it. I mean, it might be as simple as just, like, you can share worlds easier, and it might be as complicated as, like, super complex mod stuff. I don't know what the features of that are looking like currently. But Lycon, our outpost liaison, says, let's discuss your situation. There's much to share. Oh, really? You're not going to ask if I want to be a barony again? Interesting. One of the most comfy ways to mod a game. It's certainly like, it's certain, the Steam Workshop certainly has made modding accessible for a lot of people where it wasn't previously. All right, so we're just going to ask for weapons again, because that's all I've been asking them for is weapons. So spears, short swords, war hammers, battle axes. I'm also going to ask for anvils, and I'm going to ask for picks, because I don't have any picks. We're also going to ask for my hiccups to go away. I'm going to ask for shields and bucklers. I'm hoping you can put mods like the Star Wars mod on the Steam Workshop. I mean, there's already like if you go look at like any other modding area, there's lots of stolen assets and things that are on the Steam Workshop that, as long as you like change things just enough that you're not going to get yelled at, it's generally fine. Well, then we have finalized the export agreement. Feel free to look over the documents. Localization is just polite. That is true, yeah. Lycott says, farewell. I look forward to our meeting next year. Our fortunes rise and fall together. I actually, when it comes to, like, they want things to be localized, I blame China. It's almost, China's the region that really complains. It's like, if stuff isn't localized and people can just set their release dates as whatever they want, I'd be willing to bet that's probably the issue. I have a question. When you ask merchants for particular goods, does it affect the current inventory and prices or the following visits? It's the following visits. So the more you request it, the higher the prices, but the more you'll get. So they'll bring more, but you'll have more access to it. But they'll charge more for it. But because the economy in Dwarf Fortress is kind of a cluster, at least in this version, it's not generally an issue. You just kind of buy what you need. Although I will say that the premium version and I guess the next update is going to have some pretty major changes to the way requesting stuff works. You're only going to be able to place 3 requests, and they have more effect. So curious to see how that ends up like shaking up. I don't know how that's going to affect it, but at least in the current version, it's more like they want some of X, let's bring more and hike up the price. Totally. No, but they like, in like lore reason for them having to hike the price is they have to put out, like, do the legwork to acquire more of that thing. All right, so we're going to channel into the side of a volcano now. Let's hope that this works. Also, let's double check something. Yes, that did work. A troll is fighting with a jabberer. Well, that's fine. Troll's certainly going to lose. Localization is something that we'll probably never get fully for Dwarf Fortress. Although, at PAX, Tarn was talking about how, like, partial localization is theoretically possible for Dwarf Fortress. Like, a full localization, no. But something they would be able to do, and apparently they have the capabilities of doing now with the new UI, is translating just the UI, but, like, a lot of the generated text, like the Dwarven descriptions and stuff, wouldn't be translated. So it's like, they've been apparently throwing around the idea of maybe doing a partial localization, but right now it's just kind of a non-thing. All right, what dwarf is this? Nortram, my manager. All right, bud, you better run. Hey, and he got out. Look at that. Nortram didn't die. Shoutouts to Nortram. Let's put a piece of wall right here. And we'll just let that fill. So that'll flow all the way down to here and fill this up. Didn't die, though. Why does he need to rest in peace? He can sleep soundly, even. In your current fortress, you've been mass assigning mining to your dwarves, strip mining a level, and then plopping them in the military with steel picks. It's been frighteningly effective. You know, I've never actually used picks as a military weapon in Dwarf Fort. You misheard? Nope, you walked away. Very safely. And some migrants have arrived. Excellent, excellent. All right, let's do some trading. Tubes and corks. To Russian done by fans. Yeah, that's been bouncing around for a while, that partial translation. It was not very pleasant and not understandable for anyone. Oh no. Yeah, there is actually honestly a streamer who I watch, he's from Brazil, was actually asking, it's like how can like she help with the Dwarf Fortress community? It's like literally just like work on translating the wiki. I think that's actually like the best thing people can do, is just like we're never gonna get like a full good translation for Dwarf Fortress, so it's just like work on translating the wiki, because if we can get a fully translated wiki, that'll help people learn at the very least. Because like I know that like there's a really like established Russian wiki, and there's a pretty good Spanish one too. But that's honestly the best thing that we could get. They just hack enemies to pieces, and you would have thought that they'd be more piercing weapons. Did you give them any armor or just picks? Because regardless, that seems interesting. Maybe I'll have to try that at some point. Man, look at all these tubes and corkscrews. So many of them. We'll just queue up another 100. This fortress just has this absurd ability to just create huge amounts of glass in such short periods of time. I mean, sure. I mean, I own a pick. I own a nice pick. And you absolutely could hack somebody to death with that. Absolutely. The Russian wiki is pretty nice. Maybe not updated in the last 5 years. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. I think that if Dwarf Fortress can get to a point where the UI is translated into multiple languages, I think that's probably the best thing, the best that we'll ever get. And I do hope that they manage to get there, especially with the premium release. Because, like, something that Tarn was saying is, like, you know, Tarn speaks English, right? They're not, Zach and Tarn are not proficient in other languages. And one of the things that, like, having, like, because you know how there's like, that portion of, like, the Dwarf Fortress fan base that just always wants Zach and Tarn to go get extra assistance when it comes to Dwarf Fort. There's just that community of people that just want that for some reason. We're just gonna make this into a garbage dump. Just dump it into the lava pit. Why not? That seems fitting. There's that portion of the community, right? And Tarn was saying is like something that they like might actually be able to try and attempt in the future is bringing on translators. So that's why they've been doing the legwork to begin partial translations, even if they can't get, you know, full translations. Because, like, Dwarf Fortress is like Caves of Cud. There will never be a complete and total translation for it. It's just not going to happen. It's just the way these types of games are made. It's just not something that's realistic to expect. I need to turn off my Wi-Fi on my phone. No more Wi-Fi for you. I don't want my phone vibrating unless it's a text. But I did get a Twitter follower, which is why I vibrated. Developer for Rise to Ruins just tweeted out a review of his game where the person calls it a lame attempt to remake Settlers 2. And the dev's just like, don't tell anyone, but I've never actually played Settlers. First time you played Dwarf Fortress, it took you 8 hours to feel like you passed the first tutorial with multiple guide videos. I mean, yeah. Dwarf Fortress for me is like, It's easier to me, learning Dwarf Fortress properly is easier than a lot of games. I didn't have a hard time at all when I actually like sat down to do it. It was like maybe an hour and a half to like get to the point where I can just like play the game basically, and then not including like, you know, figuring out how to set it up and install it. And then after that it was just like, I don't know, a couple of sessions of just like staring at the UI very intently and very carefully reading and trying to internalize as much information as possible. But after that, like, you just kind of pick it up. With the UI, there's no problem. All the text is a fixed number of characters allowed, so you always need to put a short version of words or artificially long. This part can be improved in the Steam version of the game, I think. Yes. No, absolutely. It's those sorts of limitations that they've been working on to improve. All right, let's trade. We're gonna trade for iron, steel, bronze. Sure, we'll take platinum. Why not? These are actually, you know, we could just straight up take all these. Except for maybe the zinc down at the bottom. I don't need that. Don't need the tin or the zinc. But we will take basically everything else. Let's go down, 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 down. They got dogs. Sheep. Cats. All right. Let's just buy weapons. Don't really need that crossbow. Don't really need the training axe. Don't need the training spear. Don't need anything that's made of wood, because those are not very effective weapons. Because this is what happens when you straight up just have no metal in your fort to make into weapons. Or clothing, even. I mean, we are working on the clothing industry now. It's been getting a lot better, but I want my military to have shields and clothing. All right, there we go. And they can just grab whatever is best. Not gonna worry too much about quality. All right, let's see. What else can we grab down here? All of these anvils, of course. Can't remember anymore why your dwarves died. Though in the end, you built a moat. It was like 3 or 4 deep. You think that something could attack you in the first place, and you had farms on the floor and metal on the stone one. Something went wrong. One thing led to another, and soon there was no dwarf alive. Something went wrong, and one thing led to another, and everybody was dead. Anyways. There was no dwarf alive. You began from one dwarf going mad and making sculptures after killing some other dwarf. Ah, okay. You didn't have any law and order. Yeah, that'll do it. Fell moods are actually really rare, which are those evil moods where they go mad and make an artifact out of another dwarf. Like, you don't see them very often these days because the game's been so heavily pushed in the direction of playability. It's now just at this point where you don't really see dwarves go mad and make artifacts out of each other anymore, because they rarely get that depressed. They rarely get that far gone where they would need to do that. Which, you know, is actually good, but playability is overrated. Sure. But I do kind of miss the 2 versions ago or so where it was just constantly just insane dwarves going nuts and just cutting things up. And but if you allow translator mods, then you end up with translations like RimWorld, where it's just like the worst translations you've ever read. Which is what happens with RimWorld. Wrestlers always fear you. It's always a sign that you failed to assign weapons for your squad. That, or the person training the squad is a wrestler by trade. Although I will say, wrestlers with 2 shields, very underrated. Hey, Pizza Frank. You miss baby snatchers and cobalt thieves. You don't see many of those recently. Generate younger worlds. They tend to die. Like 100-year-old worlds, and settle close to goblins. You'll see them. But I've had many. Usually I get a bunch of snatchers and thieves at the very beginning of a fort in a young world. But the older the world gets, and the longer I play in the fort, the less of them I see because they just die. Is totally doable. You'd love to experiment with it if they allowed mods. I mean, they do allow mods. I'm actually really curious to see what the new modding interface looks like and what the usability of it is like, because there is a new modding interface coming. Is it possible to beat the things when you dig too deep? Yep. Absolutely. It's just really difficult and requires a lot of preparation. Dual shields just reminds you of Dark Souls. People do that in Dark Souls. You love the orcs and gnomes? Modding new playable races into the game is actually quite easy. Like, you don't need masterwork for that. Like, modding in factions to Dwarf Fortress is very, very, very simple. Modding in playable races is very simple, and modding in new creatures is also very simple. And, like, masterwork is probably, like, the worst way to play Dwarf Fortress right now just because of how out of date it is, but I know Meph has stated that he wants to have a tile set and masterwork ready for day one. Also, when you say orcs and gnomes, do you mean like you like playing as gnomes, or do you mean you just like gnomes? Because gnomes are in vanilla Dwarf Fortress. They're just hard to find. I used them. I know Cupo. She has some mods that add in brownies and orcs and orakai, which are orcs are just like bigger, stronger goblins, and brownies are elves but evil that mine and, well, evil-er. They mine and they use like they're basically just elves that use metal weapons. Basically, they're elves that use metal. Brownies. You mean No Moria? No Moria is abandoned, is the problem. It was abandoned a long, long time ago. There is an open source community remake of it called Innomia, but it's not super active and doesn't get a lot of updates, unfortunately. Turns out, the reason Dwarf Fortress has survived this long is because it is because it's crowdfunded, right? If Dwarf Fortress wasn't crowdfunded and didn't just have passive income over time, they would run out of money and the game would, like, probably end up in the same situation. But because they have that backbone of just community that throws money at them, they survive. And a lot of those games that try and get to the scale of Dwarf Fortress do it and then they sell their game, and because they don't have like a real end goal of how long they're going to develop the thing, they eventually just kind of run out of money and they run out of audience and they run out of marketing and the game just stops selling, which is something that happened to No Moria and various other things. I mean, to quote Zach, they only need to sell 22,000 or 20,000 copies a year to make what they're currently making right now. So as long as Dwarf Fortress sells at least 20,000 copies a year, they will do just fine. And to give you an example, Jupiter Hell, which is a game that I promote a lot on this channel, has sold like 50,000 copies since 2019. So that game is similarly as niche, but like significantly less known. And if that game can sell 50,000 copies, like Dwarf Fortress can easily sell 20,000. Basically, if they just sell, I know this is, I'm making it sound super simple. If they just sell 200,000 copies, which I believe they'll sell at least 200,000 in the first week, probably twice that in the first month. They're good for 10 years. Basically, they're funded for 10 years if they get that. Remember brownies from EverQuest? I never actually played EverQuest. I've seen it being played, but I've never played it myself. All right, how's that lava doing? No, and mighty slow. Here I thought this would flow a little quicker. Turns out no. You're off to bed. We'll see you when we see you, dude. I have no idea. Diamond, why do you keep asking me this question? It's literally, there's a placeholder price and it's $30 US. So how much money is it going to be? I'd go look for yourself. It's listed on itch. Well, here's the thing. You keep forgetting, but also it's not confirmed. So you keep making me quote something that's not confirmed, which is like, come on, man. Give me a break. Yeah, see, if you go to itch has placeholder prices, and it's listed right there, $29.99. Okay, $29.99. Also, there's some really weird DF sort of fan games on itch. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Some really weird stuff on itch when you type in Dwarf Fortress. Yeah, it's not confirmed, but the placeholder is $29.99. Almost want to make a command for that. When you play RimWorld, which you am currently, you miss digging down like in Dwarf Fortress. When I play RimWorld, I just get sad that it's just kind of a hollow copy of Dwarf Fortress in a lot of ways, to the point where I just don't play it anymore. I do have thousands of hours in that game, but like, there's something about it. It just don't enjoy playing it anymore. I mean, we had this discussion yesterday, right, Donna Minstrel? Of like they should sell it for $60 or people would buy it even if it was 60. And it's like I'm sitting here and trying to think of like comparable indie games that charge $60, right? And the only one that I can think of is Bannerlord. Bannerlord is like the only comparable-ish indie game that I can think of that sells for that much money. And even they had a hard time selling it for that much money initially. So, like, I do agree. I think Dwarf Fortress probably could sell for that much. I think it's probably wiser for them to sell it at 30 to 50 and then make money around the sides. Holy fuck, that's a lot of bug bats. So I have to keep very close eye on this cavern layer because we had a cave dragon run through earlier. And I'm hoping we can catch it. Means I'm actually going to go up here and we're going to back down more trees. Pizza turned out really good. Yay! Well, to give you an idea, right? Like, anybody who's played Dwarf Fortress for a while probably has seen all those people that are just like, I'm going to gift this game to everybody on my friends list, right? I feel like more people will play it if it's more available as a impulse buy. And right now, if they were to charge $70 for it, I think they would lose the impulse buy status, which I don't think is something that they want to do. It's gonna be me. You're gonna give it to a bunch of people. I mean, I'm gonna get. I know 3 people I'm gonna gift it to when it comes out. One of them is my older sister, but like, you know, it's you're buying at least 3 copies. 70 is him. Yeah, exactly. It's like they're just. Although I will say this, itch has like a pay what you want feature. So if you really want to pay more money for it, just go to itch, buy it on itch, pay more. Like you could theoretically do that. Or, you know, like it's not like their Patreon is going away or anything, right? Like they're going to still have that for people that just want to play like classic and not pay for it. Like that's very much still going to be an option for people. I mean, something that I'm going to do post-release is I'm going to make some tutorial videos on how to make Classic look like Premium, because something that I think is going to be really popular, actually, are going to be people who just play Classic and just use tile sets and some mods to make it look as detailed as premium. So like that's the actual beauty of premium is if people just want to try it, they could theoretically just try the ASCII version, right? Because it will be free and it will have the same UI and it will have mouse capabilities. So you can, if you're okay with playing an ASCII game, you will be able to just play vanilla if you want to do that. You can't wait for Steam DF, neither can I. But hello, Noblum. And thanks for swinging by the stream. Appreciate you. Me with my half-gone voice. I saw Animals as Leaders last night, so my voice is it's a little scratchy. But, you know, getting by. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 66 now, so no longer nice. Is the game as complicated as it seems? No. I mean, it's... Yes, but no. The thing is, like... 15 years ago, sure, yeah, Dwarf Fortress was a really difficult game to get into because it was... Dwarf Fortress, at least in its most popular mode, Fortress mode, when it was new, was very much something that, like, nobody had ever really seen before, but now there are so many games that just, like, nick ideas and mechanics from it that it's a lot more approachable now than it was 10 years ago. Because, like, 15 years ago, we didn't have RimWorld, we didn't have Space Haven, we didn't have Oxygen Not Included, we didn't have games like Kerbal, we didn't have as many, like, colony builders and town builders, we didn't have... Still supported... Wait, they don't? Why not? That's weird that they wouldn't, Dawn of Minstrel. Anyway, you know, like, there's just so many more accessible, like, little colony builders like this that, you know, No Moria didn't exist. Towns didn't exist, for fuck's sake. And I think that now people are a lot more used to playing this style of game just because people have had, like, the chance to play a lot more of them, you know? People are much more used to ideas of, like, oh, I need to give these little dudes jobs and then they go out and do the thing, right? Like, I'm trying to think of, like, what was similar to City, like, I guess Sim City, maybe The Sims. I'm trying to think in, like, the mid-2000s, like, what games existed that were, like, colony builders. I guess you had, like, Startopia, but, like, none of those games were super popular, at least in the West. I mean, I guess you had, like, the Anno games. Sims is a DF clone. Sims came out... The first Sims came out before Dwarf Fortress, so, like, maybe be careful with that. The first Sims is older than Dwarf Fort. Isn't Sims, like, 2002? When did the first Sims come out? Sims 1. The Sims video game came out in what year? 2000. So, yes. Sims is a good couple of years older than Dwarf Fort. But but like the other thing about Dwarf Fortress is the other mode, adventure mode, isn't going to be in the release version when it releases on Steam initially. That's not going to be added for like another year, right? Or however long it takes them to develop it, probably less than a year, I would guess. But I'm going to be less optimistic about that right now because I feel like Tarn might fall off a development train. You're fighting with bug bats? We're fighting with bug bats. So, yeah, no, I do think that... but what makes Dwarf Fortress complicated is the fact that you have so much more flexibility with adventure mode. Because you can play Fortress mode and you can build a fortress, but then you can also play adventure mode, which is an open world survival crafting RPG. Right? So you can play Dwarf Fortress in Dwarf Fortress, and then you can also go explore the rest of your world in a single-player RPG. And I think that's where, like, Dwarf Fortress gets a bit intimidating, but many people don't even, like, fall into that half of the depth, and many people don't even... It is the thing about adventure mode that I think people need to realize that I think... Oh, what? No, never mind. That's a cave ogre. God damn it. Saw a white thing move, and I was excited for a second. I'm trying to find a cave dragon, because there was a cave dragon in this cavern layer. The thing that I think is going to make adventure mode a lot more approachable to people is adventure mode is Kenshi, right? Fortress mode is, you know, has a ton of games that were inspired by it. But Kenshi exists. And people like Kenshi. And enough people play Kenshi that I do think that Oh, Kenshi 1 did great. Why Kenshi 2 will also do great. But since like there's so many games that are inspired by every facet of Dwarf Fortress, I think getting into it now is a lot easier than it was a decade ago. Can you play adventure mode in your created fortress mode? I don't understand the question. Can you visit your own fortresses in adventure mode? Absolutely. But what do you mean, can you? Like, you can retire a fortress and then start as a dwarf adventurer as a dwarf in your fortress. So you can retire a fortress, start an adventurer, and begin your adventure from your fortress. But yeah, no, I mean, something I like to do, which I will do from time to time, is I will make an adventurer and I will steal shit from my own fortress and bring it to a different fortress that I've made. No, you need to retire it before, unless you want to visit the ruins of your fortress, which you could also do. But you won't be able to do that initially in the next update because it'll be disabled for a while. Can you return to it later? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can unretire a fort. You can retire a fort and then return to it. Like this particular world, where is it? I built this fort right here. This is Threat Dweller. We actually fought with hell in this fort. I could return to that fort. I could start an adventurer in Threat Dweller, down here, steal some books and items, and then run the adventurer all the way up to the fort that we're in currently, and then reclaim this fort, and the adventurer would be there with the items. Like, that's where Dwarf Fortress gets complicated, is when you realize that, oh, it's like a very interconnected world. Yeah, it went through. The link policy here is as long as they're like somewhat on topic or relevant, you're allowed to post whatever, but if you post pornography, you will literally never post in my chat again. That's how the rules work. And please don't just blatantly self-promote for no reason. Basically, the link rules here are use common sense, don't be a dipshit. Which is how most of the rules in this channel work. Did I have a... Well, I mean, yes. So there are guests in Dwarf Fortress, and then there are uninvited guests. Minotaurs and dragons and titans and demons are all uninvited guests. So we do, in fact, have a uninvited guest in a cage. We also have a cat that I jumped to somehow. But yes, I do, in fact, have a uninvited minotaur. Why is it jumping? Oh, there he is. It's a weird spot for that cage to be. Why is he down here? What? I'm super perplexed by that, but okay. How's the cave dragon doing? I think it left the map. And didn't get caught in a cage. I've been hunting for it since. I'm still exploring parts of this map, though. The thing is that this cavern layer is fucking ginormous, though. Because just of how big this map is. So I'm still, like, checking the sides, but I'm cage trapping as much of that cavern layer as I can because I want to try and catch it. Or try and catch a different one. The same way you get anything in a cage with a trap, yeah. So in adamantium production, I kind of don't like using adamantine unless I need to. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like bringing a rocket launcher to a, it's like bringing a grenade to a fist fight. It's like, it's too strong. So I don't generally do that unless I'm planning to fight with hell. I do have tons of access to adamantine. We absolutely could do that. And I probably will, but kind of want to wait for other things to be done first. I don't really need it. It's like, yeah, we have no other construction materials of that sort, but for weapon making, but we don't really need it. Red door go under, green door, lava trap, floodgates. Let's pull this lever and see if it wakes. Wow. This volcano sucks. That's a genuine statement right here. Volcano sucks. Like, incapable of pumping lava at a distance. Aren't migrants uninvited guests? No, those are invited guests. What part of migrants are uninvited? Flaccid volcano. You're a flaccid volcano. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with that. Kind of annoyed, to be honest. So just give them different professions. Do you have any idea how long it takes to train to become a legendary Gelder? Do you have any idea how many nuts you need to snip to do that? 102 dwarves currently. We had 160. Then things happened. Then we had 80. But the number's going back up. Mostly just that Lun Saffron Mornings, the Rains of Waste, a Swamp Titan, which was a fire-breathing kangaroo, which caused us some grief, to put it bluntly. All right, green door. Oh my god, I totally forgot about all these bridges. Okay, well, we need to remove those. Gold. Green glass, green glass, green glass. Okay. I've got too many bridges in this fort. Kangaroo killed way more than 50 dwarves. It was like 70. It was a strong kangaroo, man. You ever tried to box with a kangaroo? Now, how about a kangaroo that can breathe fire? Okay, that should be everything then. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to set up pumps for the volcano. I didn't want to do it that way, but we may just have to. We may just have to. Which is kind of a shame, but... Although, actually, is this at least filling up slowly? Okay, it's up to 3. Or I should have put a floodgate in this. That's what I should have done. That would have given me more allowance to control the flow of this, and I could let it build up and then release it, and then let it build up and release, but oh well. I'm always, like, disappointed by how weak volcanoes can be in DF. Alright, so there's one more of these that needs to be hooked up to the green glass floodgates on this side. Lava top floodgates. Let's pull that lever and connect to this. And down here, we are fully built up, so let's start working on the sides. Send in the diorite blocks. More like the deader feels Batman. You woke up early to make a change in the database, which would cause some downtime. Went to hit the submit button and a nice message popped up. You don't have permission to make this change. You were not happy. Oh no, because like I remember you talking yesterday about how you were gonna have to get up early to make some changes, and they didn't give you the perms for that. That blows. Does that mean you didn't in fact get to go back to bed? Yeah, I'm not surprised you weren't happy. You were pretty stoked about that last night. They're not active. But there's a bug in the game that you can abuse to make them active. If you retire and reclaim forts, the game basically re-rolls the layers that lava and water spawn in, which means abandoning and reclaiming a fortress near a lake can be dangerous because you might come back and your entire fortress is underwater. But the fun side effect of this is because it rerolls the layer in which lava spawns, it could make the volcano spawn the lava higher or lower, meaning you may just spawn in and have an infinitely bubbling over volcano, which is something I like to do with volcano forts sometimes. But they are an infinite source of lava, so it is producing lava from the bottom, but it's pretty slow and they don't ever overflow. So I'm very slowly setting this whole thing up. Hopefully it'll fill this up eventually. As long as it fills that thing up eventually, we're good. The game just hitched. It's probably spawning. Reacher. Okay. Good to know. Probably unforbid my bolts so that the dwarves can actually do some hunting. You just sat on the sofa and you were hoping to see this thing resolved. Is it not resolved yet? Also, honeybee? A stray elephant has been stung by a honeybee. Oh no. My poor elephant. I'm sure that elephant will be okay though. I'm trying to think of other options of how I could do this. How the heck would it's a big B, okay? We'll name him Biggs McBee. Can I not make glass figurines? Huh. I had no idea. For some reason, I thought you could make those types of crafts out of glass. All right. Statues, yes. Figurines, no. $30 seconds of downtime off peak for causing downtime on peak is worth the change. I don't know what that means. Those are all words. Hopefully it gets resolved quick. Okay, cool. It is filling. It's just filling slowly. So once this thing's full down here, we'll be able to use that to flood stuff. The other option of thing that I could do is I could go down here, or maybe like right here even, and I could make a little pump to pump out of the side of this. I think how I would actually make that work. Without just like flooding it. Ooh, I don't know. We'll figure that out later. If this option doesn't work, then we'll figure that out later. But that will fill. Yeah, that'll definitely fill. It'll take a little bit, but it'll fill. We'll wait for that to fill. I think we'll kind of give the dwarves, not a break, but got other projects I got to work on around the edges. One of those projects, though, is I need to test this thing. So we're actually going to seal the red door briefly, just so I can test this. Although, it's going to end, I think, with Burr here getting stuck briefly. Come on, Burr. Get you and your kiddo out of there before that lever gets pulled. Because I think... Nope, you're making a rock figurine. Who's coming to pull the lever? You're coming to pull the lever. Okay. Well, you know what? Never mind. We're going to have to cancel that. There's too many dwarves running across this. This is going to end with dwarves dying. If I do, in fact, go all the way with that. That essentially the red bridges close either side of this, and then when I pull the green bridges lever, ideally it'll trap anything that is in this walkway around those towers, at which point we will pump lava onto them. So, and then we have these gold doors in the middle, which basically restricts them to the long roundabout route. Okay, let's see if we can pull the gold door here. And the red door. Because if this works, then my ability to crush enemies / fling them to their death will be significantly higher. This is just gonna be a quickie test run. I'm gonna pull the lever. Come on, animal, pull the lever. Also, I just gotta say a quick thanks for the follows today. A good couple of follows. New people came in from YouTube. It's nice to see you guys. You know, I do the YouTube stuff, which is doing rather well right now, but still a streamer at heart. Okay, now that we're locked off and it's safe. Bam, there we go. So that closes the gold doors, and then this should close the green doors. Then we can put the whole thing back together. Child has been possessed. Oh, great. Okay. Hold up. just let me witness this. Make sure this all works. Perfect. And child has claimed a craft store shop. But that is flawless. Okay. So, now, if I put the green doors, gold doors, and red doors back down, the route through will be fair again. And once there's lava beneath this, our abilities to make things chug some lava till they die is going to be significantly increased. We'll be able to just dump stuff in there. I think that's pretty awesome, actually. Here come the last two lever pullers. Now, if only we had a vampire to lock in this room, you know? Boom and boom. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. At least that part works. And the lava is spreading in there very slowly. But I hope once this whole thing's full, all these multi-layers, we'll be able to use this to begin filling it, and then we'll probably, honestly, just the big old lava flows from the top will be enough to drain the rest of it into there. Actually, to the point where I'm just going to try again. I'd rather have some lava down there if we get attacked than none. Lava flow south. I do gotta say, though, there was no Dwarf Fortress news this week, right? But we did kind of get a stealthy non-piece of news that ended up being a piece of news. Now, I did screenshot this and put it in my Discord, but essentially what it is if you go over to the announcements section of the KitFox Discord, they all but state that they are actively testing Dwarf Fortress and sending keys out to some people without saying it, because Tanya posted this where she says, reminder, we're not emailing Dwarf Fortress keys or links to random folks. Our testing group is extremely small, and we will not be coordinating a public beta. If you are not talking with if you're not pressed talking with Pop Agenda and don't directly get a key from me or Alexandra or Bay 12, it's highly suspicious and you're probably being scammed, which is interesting because they quite literally just state, yo, like we're in bug fixing phase, and also like maybe sending out keys to certain people. I don't have one, but which means I haven't started sending them out to press directly yet. But that's exciting. It's kind of non-news, but kind of neat. And then also, Alexandra, their community manager, went and posted on Twitter a screenshot of her hour count on Steam DF, which is 10 hours. Which is like, oh, come on. Show off. It's kind of big news. It kind of is big non-news news. It's also kind of funny because, like, I got a couple comments on my last video that I put up a few days ago now. Basically stating it's like, oh, there was no news this week? Oh, no, and stuff like that. Or I had one that was like, I watched this after I realized that there was no news this week. And I just kind of got to say this out loud. They don't really have much more to say or show, really. There isn't much that still needs to be shown. Most of it is, you know, ready to go, basically. Like, we've seen an hour of straight gameplay at PAX. Like, largely, from what I can tell, game's ready to go. Also pull that little drawbridge and open up the side door. Like, we are getting to that point now where it's like, we're kind of past the point of, like, screenshots really being a valuable piece of news. Only 10 hours? I know, right? Must have just been her first day, you know? 10 hours in one day for video game, pretty reasonable, me think. You know, honestly, if they sent me a key right now, even if it wasn't, like, actually the full thing, I would just launch it and just let it run in the background 24/7 and just rack up a shit ton of hours so that I can leave a review on day one that just says, it's tight. That's something I really want to do. But they haven't sent it to me yet. Makes me sad. Like, they could send me, like, just a phony key that, like, just launches, like, an older version of the game or something. But I just want to have, like, 10,000 hours in this game. It's those are the best reviews, and then there's also the ones where it's like, they have 8,000 hours in this game. Game sucks. Dev's bad. Fuck this game. It's like, wow. It's like every single Path of Exile review. Tele, it's good to see you. How was last night? The show was fantastic. Although I think I sprained my finger. I mean, look at this hand, okay? And then look at this hand. I think I sprained this finger. I'm not even sure what happened. Like, I didn't get trampled. I didn't really go into the pit or anything. So I'm not actually... I think it actually happened last night while I was sleeping. But, because I woke up at a weird angle and my hand hurt when I woke up. I was like, what the... So yeah, my hand's not happy. But aside from that, like, we're good. It's okay. It's in my not dominant hand. And if it doesn't, like, go back to normal within a few days, I will go to a clinic and get them to poke it and tell me if it's broken. This kid is making a mysterious construction. What'd you grab, kiddo? Gold bars, phalite blocks, stray llama bone, mangled bugback bone, dog leather, gold bars, wood logs and wood logs. Some kind of wood art artifact. It's a battle scar wearer with pride. You can't really see it because it's underneath my eyebrow, but underneath this eyebrow, if I were to shave my eyebrows, it would be very obvious. I have a scar that's about that long right here because I went to Hellfest on the Water, which was a local metal show with a bunch of local bands, and it was less of a show and more just an excuse for a bunch of local metal bands to rent a yacht for a day. That's all it really was. So they rented this yacht. I just realized I got a lot of animals that need to go somewhere. They rented this yacht, and it was a good time. But the problem is it was a boat, and there was a mosh pit, like, on the deck. And you know what happens when there's, like, people moshing on the deck of a boat, right? People get smacked against the edge of the boat, which happened to me, and bang, head on the side of the thing, split my eyebrow open real bad. Like, it looked really bad, but I didn't even need stitches or anything, but it looked really bad because it was a head injury, right? So, like, my entire face was just covered in blood. They took me down to the first aid room, and they were like, you know, you might want to get stitches. And I'm like, nah, I think I'm fine. I went to a doctor, and they're like, nah, you don't need stitches. You're fine. It's very much a surface level cut, but it was just, I already have battle scars. Hellfest on the Water was what it was called. Because they also have Hellfest normal, which is just, like, basically 3 days worth of shows. Three days of shows in a weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, 5 shows a day or something. I hope you're not like me when you sleep. You crush your hands between your knees. It really fucks up the hands. Really? I don't think so. I mean, like, I woke up with, like, my hand like this up behind my head at a weird angle. So, no. I don't really put my hands between my legs when I sleep either. I generally sleep with my arms folded like this. But yeah, for me, it mostly depends on, like, how long whether or not it stops hurting. If it keeps hurting, I will. Just like when you wake up and you can't feel an arm. Yeah. Yeah. I will tell you this. It's better than waking up and being able to feel your arm way more than you want to. I've definitely had that happen. Try to sit yourself up and your arm disagrees. Ooh, that sounds bad. Also, looks like the great drop begins. We're now at 883 subs. I just want to say to anybody who got gifted a sub last month, I hope you enjoyed the.
Hope I'm still alive.
I hope that you all enjoyed the ad-free viewing for the month, because it's the end of that period. Thanks for the $5. You just, like, doubled my day's revenue. Wendigo. Cheers. Chat, can I get a round of beers for Wendigo? Throwing $5 at me. Oh, no! KV Boar was found dead. That's sad. Rest in peace, sweet KV. I always forget that they need to graze, so they always die. I hope that you enjoyed the paycheck. Literally, it paid off a graphics card and the rest went into savings. But yes, the paycheck was nice. It actually, what it really did was it put me on pace to make as much as I did last year. Which is nice. It's nice making around the same amount of money every year. I was kind of behind because the summer was a little bit slow. Which video card did I get? I got a 3070, not the TI, just the normal one, and I've already underclocked it. And I plan to use it for the next 5 to 8 years. Or until this entire computer just explodes. Because like the top-end graphics cards are just like not something I need right now. Olin's, except my 1070 was just getting a little crotchety, so it was like I needed to upgrade to something, so grabbed the 3070, and my local shop price matches Amazon, so price matched Amazon and got it for a good deal. Yeah, I mean, it'll heat my apartment this winter, which will be nice. The Dwarven Child, Olin, the Dwarven Child, has created Ozit Doran, a willow cup, and claims it as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor, Churist, Aquafunkalistic Booty Wap, Plainsgilt. Aqua, you've had your, I don't know if it's your kid. It might have been your kid. Is this your kid? Oh, yeah. Aqua, your kid, made you a cup. This is a superior, okay, it's worth literally nothing. Oh, wait, never mind, hold on. That's an add-a-side figurine. That's not what I was looking for. There we go. It's worth 81,600. It's called the Crab of Diamond. This is a willow cup. All craft store ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with clay and loam and cushioned phalite cabochons and decorated with spikes of willow and paradise nut wood and gold. On the item is an image of Zon or Bruise, the dwarf, and dwarves in gold. Zon or Bruise is surrounded by the dwarves. The artwork relates to the ascension of the dwarf Zon or Bruise to the position of king of the Room of Savants in the early summer of 156. On the item is an image of Cybrek, equal letter, the dwarf in bugbat bone. Cybrek is making a plaintive gesture. The artwork relates to the mortal wounding of the dwarf Cybrek in Stonewater in the late winter of 252. Kid's seen some shit. Hey, Strider. Looks amazing. Your battle scars are amazing. Well, thank you. It's kind of funny because, like, you know, I started the stream. I listen to records on stream, right? And the record that we played at the start of the stream is like this super chill. You are the Holy Diamond, yes. Actually, I think you're the Holy. Is that the name of it? It's either that or the Holy Pearl. Holy Diamond, yes. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah. Also, apparently you're a passing acquaintance with the Exalted Treasure. Which is the other religious figure. Yeah, that's kind of wild, actually. So I guess your kid is calling you a crab? That's my takeaway from this, is that your kid is calling you a crab. Maybe you're a crabby dwarf. Aqua. But Strider, you want to know the best part about this game? It's free. I'm just saying. It's completely free. You could just go play it. Just saying. All right, I'll stop whispering now. Pay12games.com/dwarves. Just click Windows or Linux or Mac, whatever you're running it on. Oh, hey, the lava flow's here. Sweet. So I have an artificial lava flow coming from the top of the volcano. We block it with a glass drawbridge, which we use to like plug the flow, but it just flows straight down here and into this. And it does fill most of it, so hopefully we can fill it. We're gonna try. It looks so difficult. I don't genuinely think that this game looks difficult. This game's like pretty approachable. But I'm apparently a superhuman monster for thinking that, so. Just ask my chat. Tell us about this game. What do you want to know? Trying to figure out how to pronounce your name. Alden Tiun? Thank you very much for the brand new subscription. Cheers. Jack, can I get a round of beers? It's less difficult than Paradox games. The UI is better than Paradox games. The current UI is better than most Paradox games. I really hate Paradox's UI design style, where it's just like, everything gets a pretty picture. It's like, not everything needs a pretty picture. God damn it. Just put words on my screen. They've gotten better as of late. Victoria looks pretty manageable, actually, but my God, like the Europa Universalis era and like CK2 era of their UI design was just like, everything gets a tiny pretty picture, and it's all like kind of a low resolution JPEG, and you're squinting and you're like, what the fuck does that picture mean? Like pictures. I'm not here for a picture book. I'm here for words. Just tell me what the thing do. Fuck. It's just like when I played that little survival roguelike Wayward, which is kind of like a solo developed like desert island style survival on a desert island style like Cataclysm style thing. Like it's got a lot in common with Cataclysm or what it's trying to do, except you're surviving on a desert island instead of surviving in a zombie apocalypse. But that game, like its inventory, everything's just like a tiny little pixel image, and it's like, okay, so there's the blue square, there's the red square, there's the pink square, there's the green square, there's that square, there's the weird brown long thing, which is a stick, apparently. It's like, why don't you just, like, write what the item is? Please, just write what the item is, and then my life would be so much better. Look at those bodies burning. The smoke rising. But seriously, thank you very much for that brand new subscription. Like, I don't get a ton of new subscriptions around here. And also, so just for those of you who maybe weren't around a month ago, it was like 700 subscriptions got gifted in like 3 days because Twitch subs were on sale for gifts for a very brief period at the end of October. No, at the end of September, not October. What month is it? It's October. So at the end of September, subs went on sale, so people gifted a lot of subs. And we're exactly 1 month out from that now. So over the next few days, I'm going from like 1,000 subscribers on Twitch down to probably about 270. But you know, it's fine. Sounds like a Euro tabletop game with colorful bricks. Yeah, but like at least they give you a manual with those. You know, it's kind of funny. I compare learning Dwarf Fortress to learning a Euro board game. You know, like how do you learn a very complicated board game with 1 million pieces? You sit down with your friends and you read the fucking manual. Read the fucking manual. And that's how you learn Dwarf Fortress. You sit down and you read the fucking manual. Or in this case, you read the fucking wiki. King Snakes, Kestrels, and Pala. Come on. Yeah, it does have vomit squares, yes. Or it would have vomit squares if it was a board game. I'm gonna slaughter some of these puppies. Yeah, the quick start guide for DF makes learning DF a lot easier too. I wouldn't say it's very good at teaching you the UI stuff, but it certainly teaches the UI. I'm not gonna say it's very good at it. I think the only thing that's very good at teaching the UI for Dwarf Fort is like your own time spent. For a new player, you think it's good? I mean, I think that the quick start guide is the best way to learn DF. I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. I just don't think it's that good. If that makes any sense. Huh. You know what? I've just got an idea. I've just got an idea. So I think I'm going to take another, wait, I'd have to go directly underneath that. I don't know if I want that. I'm trying to think of ways to fill this little reservoir here. But I also kind of don't want to stop the flow of this. Kind of want to let it finish doing its thing. We'll just let it finish doing its thing. It'll be fine. Well, no, I mean, it's the thing is, like, the quick start guide does a really good job teaching you hotkeys, but it doesn't actually tell you where things are in the UI. But there's no brain to pick there. I think that practice teaches you the UI. I don't think, like, if you sit down and you read the quick start guide for Dwarf Fortress without the game open, you won't learn any of the UI. I think playing the game teaches you the UI. That's literally the only brain bit to pick. There's no other opinion there. Does it not get steaming hot in your mountain? Yeah, but the dwarves don't mind. That's all I'm really saying. Like there's no more real thinking to do outside of that. Okay, so another thing that we need to do is we just need to work on these towers. So let's just get these done. Let's do this one first. You also got to remember that I'm tired and just kind of rambling today, so. And also, I agree with Shenron. Best way to learn Dwarf Fortress is just to sit down and learn Dwarf Fortress. But I'm going to keep using the... It's like learning a really big, complicated board game analogy, because that's my favorite analogy for what DF is like. And people seem to understand that one. Let's see if these dwarves get themselves stuck in here. Don't think they will, but they might. They have before, so. Also gonna throw more walking spots in here. I mean, that's the benefit of all ASCII games, right? Is that because it's abstracted, you can just like imagine what things look like. I never fully understood why some people have such an aversion to it, though. Like, there are people that just are very vehemently against ASCII, and I don't think I ever will fully wrap my mind around as to why that is exactly. Some people just hate it, and I don't know. I think it's a bit of a shame. I really wish that people gave ASCII a bit more of a... Gave it a bit more of a shot, you know? Because I do think it kind of just gets written off as, oh, strange and scary a lot. but it is a very powerful imagination tool. Sure, I mean it's definitely like a plus for some people, but you know, to quote something that Clino said to me recently, who's forum moderator for Dwarf Fortress, is he forgets that, like, you know, when you talk about the Dwarf Fortress community and the people that, like, I talk to who play this game already, it's like, to me, I just kind of assume that the vast majority of people use ASCII because, like, that's what the power users play with. You know, the people who've been playing this game for years generally play ASCII, right? Because that's just how they've always played, and that's how they always will play, and the game's lagging. So when I put up a poll, like, because I honestly, I put up a pretty baity poll on my YouTube channel the other day, and like I kind of acknowledge that it's a bit of a trap, but I was mostly just kind of curious as to like where people who watch my YouTube channel split between like Dwarf Fortress, because I stated I was planning on doing a tutorial series, which is true, and should I do these with graphics on or ASCII or both? And I was just kind of curious, like, where people lie on it. It's very much clear that like it's a minority of the audience. A very, very small minority of the audience that actually likes ASCII. Your fondness for ASCII goes back to the 80s when you were running a BBS and it was all ASCII. I mean, I was born in 94, right? So I'm a 90s kid. But, like, I liked ASCII games when I was younger because they were games... I just realized I gave two videos the same title and thumbnail. Whoops, even though they're actually different videos. I need to fix that. Put up part 10 of Rim of Savants as part 9. Oops. Fixing that. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, my affection for ASCII comes from, they were very small games, and I had shitty internet growing up. And for a large portion of growing up, I had no internet. So it was literally just, well, ASCII games are a thing that I can go over to a friend's house and put on my MP3 player and take home and not have to worry about my MP3 player being full, you know? PBSs aren't that old. You know how some people were talking about Jupiter Hell earlier? The game that came before Jupiter Hell, which is Doom RL, actually is getting ported to a BBS right now. Unless it's already been ported. I don't think he's finished it yet, but dev of Jupiter Hell got commissioned by somebody to port all of his old ASCII roguelikes to some Silicon Valley benefactor because he got commissioned by some guy who's running a BBS for fun to port all of his old roguelikes to a BBS, make them work on Linux. I actually play a MUD sometimes. I play Bat MUD occasionally. Is that shit still burning? What the fuck? Okay, no, it's just a little bit of smoke now. Like I'm okay. Just chat. If you had unlimited dumb money, would you just like go to a game developer that you really like and be like, hey, I want to commission you to port your games to my BBS? Well, that sounds like something half of this chat would do. So which one of you nincompoops did that? Speaking of, probably dropped my sub goal. Down to 608 subs, which means it's possible that we could hit 666 subs today. Not gonna happen. I do need more coffee though. If you had a BBS, I mean, if you had unlimited fuck you money and enough money to commission a like full-time programmer to remake a bunch or to update a bunch of his games to run on and port them to Linux, I think you'd probably have enough money to build a BBS. I think it's because that they used to just have high fiddling. They're just used to having high fidelity graphics, and it let them easily tell what's going on at a glance. Well, I mean that's debatable, but how much variation with these tiles, and people can get easily overwhelmed with all the strange, archaic-looking visuals. It tends to scare off the casual zoomer. I think it scares off I don't think it's necessarily just zoomers. I think it's everybody. I mean, I got internet in 2006, and it was really fucking slow dial-up, and I was barely allowed on it. I didn't really have actual access on the internet to the internet until about 2007, 2008, where I started playing RuneScape. But I didn't have internet on my own personal computer until about the end of 2008, early 2009, at which point I started playing, like, or actually, no, it was 2008. And then at that point, I started playing Dota and Counter-Strike. And by 2009, I had found Dwarf Fortress. Because I needed things to play in queue, and I already played games like ADOM and other ASCII games, so Dwarf Fortress didn't really, like, seem too weird, I guess. What's this green floor? That's all green glass, but this is the project that I'm working on. Sweet, no dwarves locked themselves in here. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. As long as they're all the same color, it doesn't really matter. Green glass. Yes, is green glass. All of the green is glass. Which we forged in the volcano. With the lovely sands around the edges of the volcano. Okay, so up here... How can I do this? Alright, I think I figured out how I'm going to power this. I think. You were studying 3D animation in 2000, really? Damn. You know what, let's just cover the top of all of this in glass, then we'll figure out where we're gonna go from there. The extent of my 3D animation messing around is some basic Blender. I know enough Blender to make a snowman and then make the snowman wave. And I can make a snowman because making spheres is easy. That's about how much Blender I learned, and then I got bored and stopped. It's basically like, that's my 3D animating experience. Although, I want to get better with Blender because Blender actually has a very powerful video editor in it. And I've thought about, and I over the past year, one of the things that I've been trying to do is make as much of my software requirements and software needs as a creator on the internet open source as possible. Blender is genuinely fantastic. It's just there's some things about the Blender editing software that, like, are just a little too clunky for me currently, but I'm keeping an eye on it because it is developing quite rapidly, like many things. Which can be annoying, but it's also getting better every day. No, absolutely. I listened to a podcast called The Foss Pod, where they just talk about free open source software. And they actually had a, they did an interview. Actually, they did an interview with the maintainer of VLC Media Player, which was fantastic. Because he quite literally, it was the most, tell me you don't give a shit about other people's copyright and piracy without telling me you don't give a shit about other people's copyright and piracy. It's literally just like, well, their lawyers just need to get better. It's like his excuse for quite literally everything when they were just like, yeah, so isn't this like used for a lot of piracy? Like, isn't this like the most popular media player for piracy? He's like, well, I mean, I don't know anything about that. It's a modern marvel. Yeah, and their maintainer seems to be too. It's also extraordinarily French, that dude. All right, let's get these gear assemblies up and set up. An Impala is fighting. It's definitely not a tame Impala. Early 3D animation is sick. You watch a documentary about it. The earliest movies were created by a math and computer guys. It's surreal. I mean, the earliest video games were made like, well, I mean, roguelikes and games like Rogue like were made as like programming experiments to like test the limits of what they could do with procedural generation in video games. Like all early, like a lot of, basically everything in the games industry was just created by like comp sci majors fucking around. Like this industry just straight up wouldn't exist if it wasn't for, you know, comp sci majors just goofing off. All right, let's build an up ramp right here. Go there. And there. What am I doing? Storing lava? I'm building a reservoir. The problem is I can't get it to fill entirely because I can't fill fast enough. So I'm trying to make a secondary reservoir to help fill it. Oh, everybody's putting shit away right now. Makes sense. I did kind of just queue up a whole lot of building jobs, so let them work through those. But still love text games as a cognitive one. You see letters and you try to read them. It kind of overloads your brain, making abstracting very very intense activity. No, that's fair. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, I don't want to like shame people or knock people or like feel like I don't want people to think that I'm like. If you can't get into ASCII games, it's not like that's a negative thing. It's just a surprising thing to me at the very least, because I've always found ASCII games to be so much easier. Really? So. Over time, your brain becomes plastic. Not everybody's brains is plastic. How many dwarves in the fort currently? 102? 102. But, you know, that's also what tile sets are for, right? Like, you know, Dwarf Fortress is as malleable as Minecraft in that way. Like, there are thousands of tile sets for it. It's just a building material. Rock salt. So if you want to make a fortress and dedicate it to Twitch chat, you can do that. The saltiest of fortresses. Let's go right there. Now mine this out. We're gonna dig an upstairs. Do oh, that's very inconvenient. And yeah, it's fine. We'll make it work. Let's remove 2 tiles of this stockpile right here. And we will channel right next to it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's right. And we'll be able to go via the top of this wall. Also need to demolish more of these bridges. Keep forgetting to do that. No, I mean, so here's the thing. I don't have friends. Have I done that with Dwarf Fortress? Not publicly. Like, not on stream or anything. Although it's kind of funny, I help run a RimWorld charity event that is literally that, with a legacy save in RimWorld. Okay, is that the open space? Okay, so nothing wrong with questions. No, you don't directly control the dwarves unless they're in combat, and even then you still don't really directly control them. You can give them orders, but they're like general orders, so they don't necessarily listen. You know, sometimes they'll just like fuck off and run away, and that's part of the fun of DF, is they have a lot of autonomy and free will. They can just kind of do shit sometimes, which really annoys some people. But I really like it that they can do that. I mean, as long as they're relevant questions, questions are generally a good thing. But as far as like legacy saves goes in Dwarf Fortress, I generally don't do those kinds of things with viewers. And there really isn't enough streamers that are super active on Dwarf Fort that it's really a valid option, I would even say. For me right now. I mean, it might be post-release. I mean, actually, ideally, I would like to try and do a hot potato equivalent post-Steam release. I think that would be really neat to do a really big kind of charity event with Dwarf Fortress at some point in the future, but there needs to be enough people actively streaming it for that to work. So hopefully we can make that happen one day. Just let them work on the left side, and then we'll do the right side. But why do you ask, Mask Rotor? My wrist is also kind of stiff. My whole body's just kind of busted right now. But yeah, no, don't ever be apologetic for asking too many questions. There's no such thing as too many questions. Two Dwarf Fortress. No, I mean, like, I really want to do some sort of equivalent of that in the future. I mean, it's something that we'd need to work towards, and it's something that needs to happen in the far future, but... All right, so, we're now down to 437 subs. I think that's about as much as it's going to drop, so I'm going to make a new sub goal now. And then tomorrow we're going to lose, I think it's 150 a day from here for the next 2 days. So I think we're going to lose 100 tomorrow and then like 90 the day after. So let's just say 450. There you go. Unless it drops more. I'd need to do math. As the sub count comes crashing back down to earth. Bound to happen eventually. Getting this thing dug out. Baby llama was slaughtered. Bastet made a masterpiece jute hood. Still working on those hoods. Everything else is done. Okay, how full is this? 1 of 7? No, actually, let's go up to there instead. So I'm basically redirecting this back which is up there. Let's actually go that way. I'm just like I'm just changing this like constantly, but and I can just channel up and into that. Let's put a door there. Gonna take a minute for the door to show up, but we'll put a door there. And this dwarf can just dig all the way to the end of that. And then all we need to do is channel up, and then it'll flow down from up there and into here and help fill this up. And then once this thing's full, then we can drop the drawbridge and use that to help fill this. I think that might push it over to the edge. Which is all that we really need. I just need to fill this up and get this huge reservoir filling. And then we'll pretty much have a functional trap. And then once we get the pump stacks built and constructed and set up and good to go, we'll have an invincible trap. So, cheers to that. Do I even channel up, bro? I generally channel down, bro. Are you trying to make a do you even lift? It's like, I'm not certain that that works, but. All right, so where does this land me? Right there, perfect. So what you're saying is that you're down with the channel? Is this like being down with the sickness? God, there's so much construction going on right now. Everybody's constructing everything. I'll go up here. Well, at least they're almost done with all that. Rip gifted sub badge. I mean, you could gift a sub to Feels Batman, and that would fix that. Or Aqua. Just saying. No one's ever stopped you before. But yeah, no, I mean it's the subpocalypse, man. It's the subpocalypse now, in fact. Need somebody to construct a door for me. Is anybody bringing a door over? I don't see any doors. Oh, there's a door. Oh, that was actually quicker than I was expecting. Shouts to the door dwarf. Although all that being said, Aquafunkalistic Booty Wap does in fact deserve a gifted sub. If anybody's feeling generous. Dwarf! Yes. It's the door dwarf. It's the dwarf of doors. I mean, I don't think dwarves have hoes. I mean, a dwarf could be a hoe, but I don't think that they actually use hoes for anything. Now, let's see who's going to go carve this ramp. Ashen, or Asin, is going to carve this ramp. You haven't played D&D for like 5 years? Oh, hell yeah. New group or old group getting back together? Hope you have fun, though. Are you going to name him Urist? Just asking for a friend. Also, for anybody who's wondering, haven't seen any cave dragons since that one ran through. So, guess we just gotta wait. It also didn't die, for whatever that's worth. Well, that's good news. But, haven't seen more. Old grip? Hell yeah. I think that's probably the best. What's the reason to get back together? Just schedules finally aligned again? Your wife wants to try it out? Wonder if they'll ever add that kind of minutia to the game to be able to... I mean, they were... Tarn's talked about tools on many occasions. There is actually a game that requires that level of detail, which is a game that I think kind of snuck under the radar a little bit for a lot of people. We played it a little bit, but it was very early access when it first launched, so I was like, you know what, I will give this a year and then come back. But it's clan folk, this thing. I mean, it's 2D, right? It doesn't have Z levels, but this game requires like a tool for everything. Everything requires a tool, and that part of it's kind of really neat, actually. Like it's, like in order to make workshops all need their own tools, and the tools need to be built and maintained, and you need to have a stockpile and a surplus of tools to be able to keep using your workshops, or your workshops cease to function and shit like that. Like it's very early access and buggy in a lot of ways, but it's got some neat as hell ideas. Also, it's made by a dude who lives in my hometown, so that part's kind of neat. But as far as like that kind of level of detail for Dwarf Fort, I know Tarn's talked about it, but it's one of those, that'd be a lot more items to keep track of, you know? Because Dwarf Fortress also does like the ludicrous amount of like 3D processing and stuff. The question is, will this dwarf survive? Or will you successfully carve ramp and get away? It doesn't really matter either way, but I would like you to survive. Chat room investments are open if you want to throw your tickets at the wall and maybe get a payout back. Or maybe not. Hey, made it. Perfect. So that will fill quite quickly, I think. Yeah, that'll fill quite quickly. That'll fill way faster than the volcano will. It is still filling, and it will fill eventually, but this will speed this process up significantly. Also, I don't think "significantly" is a word, but whatever. You have to type in exclamation point tickets to see how many you have, Mask. Good luck, Diamond. Wait, what? What just caught fire? Oh, must have just been some diorite. Weird. Alright, well, this will now fill significantly quicker. We can use this extra side reservoir as a way of assisting the filling speed. But it needs to be filled up to here, and then it'll keep filling slowly. Yeah, it's actually filling quite quick. Well, that works great. Pressure is something you have to consider. Lava gets a little bit of pressure, but I actually, like, I don't know if this is necessarily a joke, but I kind of joke that, like, lava in Dwarf Fortress is less dangerous than water. Water in Dwarf Fort is more dangerous than lava because of how much pressure it can build up. And then suddenly, like, just everything explodes. It's like with water, you can have some absolutely ludicrous outcomes with water pressure. But fortunately, with lava, that's not so much of an issue. I don't know. Oh, I see. You walked around it. I was gonna say, I don't know how you got there. There is ways of pressurizing lava, though, but they're kind of player techniques. They're not, like, it won't pressurize by itself, essentially. Do you have any tips on defense? Make your walls too high. 2 levels high, not too high. And make overhangs. Chop down trees around the edge of your walls if you're building walls. That and build a door and lock it if baddies show up. Artifact doors are indestructible and can't be toppled, so they are the most valuable defensive thing you can get. Aside from that, just don't worry too much about what your dwarves equip. As long as they're equipping something, you're pretty much good. As long as they're equipping something, they're pretty much good. Also, chat, I would like to inform you. This is that video that a lot of people have watched, right? I've gained 64 subscribers from this YouTube video, right? It was 65, but somebody watched this video and then unsubscribed. Somebody unsubbed on that video page. Man. Who's the traitor? I know. Which one of you son of a bitches did it? I kind of love those little stats like that on YouTube, where it's just like, upload a video, immediately gets a dislike. Which one of you shitheads did it? There's this one person who really doesn't like me, who occasionally will leave very, very, very rude comments on my videos, and they always get caught by the auto spam detection and or the auto like profanity filter. So they always get like cornered off the video and into a different silo. Sometimes I respond to them and just let them be on the videos, and sometimes I just ignore them and let them be deleted by the automatic system. But it's always just very funny to me whenever this person comments, because it's just like, you know, when I don't like somebody on YouTube, you know what I do? I click do not recommend video on their last like 5 videos, and I unsubscribe, and then I forget that they exist very quickly because YouTube never recommends it again, and you never see it again. But there's this one person that really, really hates me and goes out of his way to dislike all of my videos and, like, comment frequently. Only Gremlins not posting a gremlin emote? This is weird. Also, Only Gremlins is such a good account name, Diamond. Good job. Oh, also, chat, could we all take a moment, have a moment of silence for Anon bits? Because Twitch killed anonymous bits, and it makes me really sad. All right, moment of silence is done. Rest in pizza, not rest in pizzas, anonymous bits. You were too good for this world. I think some people have too much free time and think that the internet matters a lot more than it does. Like, one of the few comments I actually let through from that person was a comment on, well, actually, I don't know if I want to out this one entirely. We'll just say there are some people that are just don't like people. Without anonymous bits? Well, you can still gift subs anonymously. But I guess you don't. The Forgotten Beast, Rusmo, has come. Rus money? Because isn't that his emotes? Yeah, well, it needs an extra S. Anyway, Rusmo has come. A towering three-eyed mite. It has large mandibles. And it squirms and fidgets. Its emerald exoskeleton is waxy. Beware its deadly dust. All right, where is it at? It's a mite? Okay. Well, it will die really easily, so I will send my brave soldiers to go and fight it. But we will watch it as it crawls in on the side of the map. Mite. Disgusting. Rusmo, is that you? You never call? I almost forgot you existed. Well, see, it's just funny. It's like, because Rusmo is like what people call Rust money. You put your pizza in Discord. Truly a forgotten beast. Looks like it turned out well, considering you said that you used the wrong flour. It seems to just be crawling through the... Oh. So we've got a steel buckler, iron cap, iron chain leggings, gauntlet. Do you even have a weapon? Oh, you do have a steel short sword. Sweet. So short sword wielding wrestler, decked out in steel and iron, gets to it first. Wrestler attacks the Forgotten Beast but jumps away. The wrestler stabs the Forgotten Beast in the right third foot, slashes the Forgotten Beast in the first foot, and a ligament has been torn. The wrestler strikes the Forgotten Beast in the third foot with the pommel of her steel short sword, fracturing the chitin. The force bends the left third leg. I think it's dead. The wrestler bashes the Forgotten Beast in the body with his steel mace, tearing the muscle and bruising the fat. Did it die? Nope. Got knocked into the air. The wrestler bashes the Forgotten Beast. Okay, it is finished. Hopefully the deadly dust ain't that bad. The wrestler punches the Forgotten Beast in the head with her left hand, tearing the fat, bruising the muscle, and bruising the brain. Punched it in the head and it died. Imagine just punching our Forgotten Beast to death. Avus might puncher. Well done. Might puncher. You did it. You might punch her. What? I mean, when it comes to anonymous bits, Fluffy, or not Fluffy, Frog for Hire, when it comes to anonymous bits, oh no. You have an affliction. Very drowsy. Please tell me it's sleeping powder. I have to watch you. So these were the two dwarves that, or three dwarves actually, that got caught in it, and they're all very drowsy. They've got the red flicking X because they've got an affliction. And they've all, I think, got the same. Imagine, like, they just fought this Forgotten Beast, and all that they got to show for it was chronic fatigue. It's like they're just drowsy for all eternity. Hey, Alex, what up? We just fought a Forgotten Beast. And the three dwarves that fought with it are now very drowsy. We saw a cave dragon today. So hopefully we can find more. Uh-oh, are you bleeding? Okay, so this dwarf is like vomiting blood now from the looks of things. But has no visible wounds. Then where's the blood coming from then? This is not good. Chat, do you guys think that these dwarves will survive this? Or do you think that they're gonna pass?
Take that free money.
Take that free
THX
money.
for last month's sub.
Get them bleeding. Well, thank you very much for the Prime sub. Cheers. Means a lot, man. And for the second month streak. Cheers. You're thinking maybe? I mean, they're bleeding a lot. They seem to just be bleeding from everywhere right now. Diagnosed required. All right, have either of you been diagnosed yet? They're just bloodletting. It's fine. No evaluated wounds. Are you diagnosing, Dwarf? Okay, you're diagnosing. See what happens when we get the diagnosis on you. Is it literally just they go take a nap? Are you still bleeding? Because they're no longer drowsy? No, this dwarf is still bleeding, guys. That's pretty metal, though. It's like, what do? I just randomly ejaculate blood everywhere. This seems fine. The anti-vampire? Maybe? Oh no, we definitely have doctors in a fully decked out hospital. But like the fact that like they just got like they're still very drowsy. Like, but, you know, they're all just going to bed now. Guess we'll have to check in on Might Puncher in a moment. Bizarre, man. So we'll just let that fill. This appears to not be filling as quickly, purely because of that, like, or this side project. So we'll just let that fill up all the way up to here, and this will pick up again. Doesn't get hot enough. I've never tried making pizza in my oven, but it's also not something that I'm particularly like keen to do. That's mostly all it is. All right, we got dwarves. They're dressing wounds. Okay, so this dwarf actually has like wounds now. They're fully torn open, and they're getting stitches, and their wounds are getting cleaned. They've received dressings. That's fascinating. You just want to be rid of the figurative debt at this point? To be fair, making those is a pretty laborious activity. Like it's not a quick thing. You can't just like turn around and be like, boom, pizza. Like making dough and waiting for it to rise and all that stuff does take time. You know, it genuinely bothers me that my oven doesn't have a Celsius option. It's like, it's all in Fahrenheit, and that's the only option I'm ever going to be given. It's from New York City, and the only way to get pizza made for her is to order dough from New York, New Jersey, and then bake it out in a stone grill. You know, that's like me and beer. It's like I live somewhere that has such like huge amounts of fantastic beer that when I go anywhere else, it's like, this beer sucks. It's like even like places that like are pretty known for having what is considered to be good beer, like Quebec is one of those places in Canada that's known for having some pretty damn good beer. But I would vehemently disagree with that. I think every single beer I've ever had from Quebec has been kind of terrible. Alright, so we'll just let that fill and do its thing for a little bit. So, since that's working and that's working and that's working, we can go back to working on towers. You have a dwarf with 0 endurance? They'll train. Just like anything else, they'll get trained. Don't worry about those numbers. I mean, I'm assuming you're using Therapist if you're seeing those stats. Like, literally don't worry about it. You shouldn't be looking at any of those stats. I'm a firm believer that knowing like the stat numbers of your dwarves actively takes away from this game. So, because you don't need to know them. Plenty of dwarves are weak. Like even carrying boulders around and hauling, pushing wheelbarrows, walking around, doing around the fort jobs, constructing stuff, all that stuff trains endurance and strength. I don't disagree with that. But I'm also not what you would describe as a pizza connoisseur. I genuinely believe that pizza's kind of overrated just in general. But that's also partially because, like, I'm diabetic, so for me it's just like, oh, pizza. Ah, yes, lots of pain tomorrow. Like, waking up with cramps in my legs? Yep, that's what pizza does to me. So, whenever I look at pizza, it's like, that's never as appetizing as people make it seem because of the implications and the issues that I gain the next day. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 14. So I guess 38. Actually, no, 28. That's math. Do you ever just like type in what you're thinking? Pipe. Or is it tube? Tube. Glass. There we go. 28. Cork. Glass. 28. Sand. 50. You loved it? It's such a fucking good little game, isn't it? I wish that game all the success it can get. The dev actually sent me a very kind DM the other day where he's just like, thank you so much for streaming the game. It's very validating. I make this game in kind of a, like, just a, what's the word I'm looking for here? He makes the game in very much just kind of in a little bubble and doesn't know if it's actually any good or not. Did you beat the game? Like, did you get a win? You died. Then it wasn't unstoppable. But yeah, that game's really good at making you feel really powerful really quickly. And then immediately you're like, yeah, let's dive in and do it again. If you die, how is it unstoppable? Exactly. It's very unstoppable until not. Until it's very much stoppable. You killed your own minions by mistake and you died. Oh, well, I mean, this is what happens when a cult leader murders all of its subjects. You have no subjects left. When I worked at McDonald's, you made this pizza-like thing called McStuffin. It was pizza filling in a bread roll and we baked it in the restaurant. McStuffin these nuts is my only response to that. I know that McDonald's had pizzas for a bit because I remember them, but I never worked in that era of McDonald's. Path of Acra is not mackable. I mean, not with that attitude. Do you mean it doesn't run on a Mac? I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you could probably, like, play it in a wrapper. It's pretty lightweight. People didn't order it enough, and the ingredients were too expensive, so they stopped serving it, like, everything. People, like, make such big assumptions about fast food and stuff, where it's just like, oh, I mean, it's all just marketing. It's like, if people don't order it enough, then they get rid of it. The pizza sucked, and nobody ordered it, so they got rid of it. You also not been in a playing mood with these PC issues? No, that's fair. There's a web version. Yeah, it runs in a web browser, no problem. But like it's a very lightweight game. You could probably run it in a wrapper. But I know it run. I think there's a Linux version. Okay, we're managing work orders and gonna get that done in a mo. Kiddo's picking up equipment. Butchering animals. Good, good, good. There we go, and this is getting filled. Pretty efficiently. Still a little bit annoyed that it didn't fill quicker, but... Yeah, I don't use it. You know, honestly, I forget that humans purchase Macintosh computers and actually try and play video games on them. I forget that people do that. Although, on the topic of Mac games, fun fact, apparently Bungie is considering rebooting Marathon and allegedly have a Marathon project in the works, which is weird. Work paid for your Mac? Sure, but why not get, like, Window PC to play a game? Or, like, you know, even a Steam Deck. You know, speaking of the Steam Deck, actually, podcast that I listened to, one of the hosts was just like, installing Windows on your Steam Deck is giving into failure. The real challenge and fun of the Steam Deck is just making things run. Edpar, thanks for the raid. Hello. I hope that your stream of Dwarfs was good. Hope that you made progress. And of course, if you want to see more Dwarf Fort, there, go give that person a follow. Go click that button. What's the difference between steel and iron anvil? Steel anvils make Dwarf go, oh, that pretty, when they see it. You made Epic and GOG run on Steam Deck, mostly Jupiter Hell and Need for Speed on it. How you liking the Steam Deck? I've heard that like Jupiter Hell is fantastic on Steam Deck. Heard extremely positive things about that. Do you want a Windows PC or a house eventually? I mean, you could build a Windows PC for not a lot of money. We're basically back to the area to like like crypto apocalypse prices for computer components. Doing some unlucky adventure mode? Oh no, only because you had some crashes in your fortress? Oh, that sucks. Yeah, crashes is no bueno. Crashes is sad as... Although I feel like I get more crashes in adventure mode than I do in fortress mode usually, but I think I can count the number of crashes I've had on fortress mode on one hand for the last 2 years. I rarely get crashes in fortress mode. What do, Mr. Tutorial Man? Literally find any dirt. Dig down. Unless you want to start, like, figuring out how buckets work, but I think just digging down would be easier. You don't need to be too far underground. I mean, I farm, like... Oh, jeez. Jan. Sorry. I'm farming, like, right here. Right here. Just on some silt. It's literally just like silt floor. Just silty, like dirt, basically. Also, I need to queue up more drinks. Silt works, yep. Any kind of dirt. Silt, sand, mud, clay, dirt, cavern layer. You've only had one crash since you ditched DF hack and text will be text. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the, you know, it's kind of funny. Like I get a lot of comments that are basically just like bug reports, right? On my YouTube videos, and it's just like, I get a lot of comments that are just like, did they fix the crashing issues in Dwarf? And my response is usually, do you use text will be text? And then they're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's your problem. It's like, are you using a lot of DF hack extensions? Are you using a tile set that requires DF hack? Are you using a lot of DF hack commands? Yes, found your problem. Most bedrooms are beauties? Well, thank you. Those bedrooms are probably bigger than my apartment. Text will be text is like almost always like at fault for breaking things. I mean, the crash on load was the common text will be text issue, but it can cause other loading errors. You're quite literally forcing the game to render more than it's capable of. So it's not too surprising that it causes weird things to happen, because you're literally forcing the game to do something it's not designed to do. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Like a lot of these things, they don't cause issues until they do. But when there's an issue, they're usually at fault. Which is why I just don't bother, because I don't think they're necessary. And I'd rather just never have a crash. That's where my preferences lie. I'd rather just not have a game that crashes. Actually, no. Let's use green glass. Should just forbid the rest of them. Whatever. I mean, you don't need to play ASCII. It's mostly just like, and also like if you play a lot of Dwarf Fortress, eventually it just, everything starts to look like Dwarf Fortress. Like I know I'm past that point, and I've been past that point for a long time, but there is just kind of like a moment that most people get to with Dwarf Fortress where it's just like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what tile set I use. It's like it all just like people like, and there are some people who like, I guess maybe that doesn't happen too, because they'll be in my chat and they'll be like, yeah, I don't know this tile set yet. And it's like, really? Everything just kind of looks like Dwarf Fortress. I guess maybe if like you just use Vetelinger's tile set or something, and everything has its own specific art, and it's all very boutique-y and fancy, but yeah, the search functionality is the only thing I actually miss. Nothing else, though. I hate auto. I hate those things that make the game play itself. I like typing stuff in and remembering when to do stuff. But, that's just a personal thing. It's not actually an issue with the software. It's just I don't personally play the game that way. Alright, how did I do this previously? Well, get better memory. Jeez. Simple. Don't forget, forehead. But no, I get it. Like, and if you're not playing the game too often, and it makes sense why people forget stuff, and it's nice to have little assists like that. Personally, it just annoys me. There we go, brings that down to there. And on this side, I can start building floodgates again. I can start hooking up those floodgates too. We'll have to do that again on the other side too. We'll also have to build all the pumps on this side as well. Also, I'm starting to get hungry. It's getting close to lunchtime, I think. All right, that's starting to fill up, which is good. I just want it to fill up all the way onto this level. So I guess 2 more Z levels on that, which is taking forever, but I guess it is what it is. I don't know. I always get super excited when I start to build like volcano forts, and then I just get like progressively more disappointed by them as the fort goes on. Every time I make like these giant forts on volcanoes, it's like, I love volcanoes. They're cool as hell, but God, I wish they were cooler. They're rather anticlimactic, if I'm going to be kind. Trying to think of like simple tasks that I forget to do in Dwarf Fort. There actually something that I forget to do in Dwarf Fort is like the basic farm shop tasks. I often forget to like queue up jobs to keep my number of like pigtail cloth and pigtail seeds and circulations up and stuff like that. And I usually forget to do that until way too late in a fort, because you really want to get that going like right away. If you want to have like a pigtail and like cloth industry of that sort, like if you really want to like be able to make clothes for all of your dwarves out of like plant fibers, you really need to get started on that early, and that's something I usually forget to do. Okay, what is the floodgate hotkey? Because I always forget this one. X, okay. X gonna give it to you. Gotta go interact with people at work. Boo. Have a good time at work, though. Hopefully work's an easy day. So brewing or pressing or whatever, it's processing plants is how you get pigtail seeds. Bring out all of the glass floodgates. It's a lot of construction. Let's get it done all at once. It's been a pretty exciting day, though. You know, Forgotten Beast. We witnessed a cave dragon. Lots of stuff's been happening so far today. Lots of stuff. I just kind of partitioned it. I mean, it's fine. I read it. I caught it. I figured it out. I understood. Message received. And processed, just like those plants. All right, I think I might wait for the game to save, and then I think I'm gonna do a music break, and I'm gonna go get food if that works for you guys, chat. Once this is finished its round of saving, because I'm quite hungry. Eating lunch at like 1 p.m. like a normal person. What the fuck? Instead of the grains just being seeds. Milling grains also produces more seeds for some strange reason? Really? Huh. I barely ever mess around with milling. That's just not an activity that I do in Dwarf. Oh no! That your cat died. What a sad day. God damn. Chat, can I get Fs for this kitty? Poor kitty passed away. That's a travesty. What an absolute shame. Poor kitty. That was somebody's pet cat, too. I don't even know whose cat that was. What do you do for flour or dye if you don't mill? I buy it. Or I just don't. Generally, I just don't. It's just not, especially, like, I used to mill for flour quite frequently when dwarves were much more picky about food, but in this version, like, they don't care about food. They just care about food quality. So variety is not something they need anymore as much. So I just kind of don't. And I barely ever dye stuff. Flour is so valuable. So's masterwork, glass, anything, and glass is super accessible and free and infinite. Trying to dye more clothing? I probably will once premium comes out. I dye clothing in long death. It's just most forts I just don't bother. I never make pearl ash. Like there's certain things that I just never do. Like I never make my own plaster for hospitals. I import it, usually from the humans. The heck is pearl ash? Good question. Let's see. Like if I'm making ceramics, I usually buy all that stuff. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of things in Dwarf where I just import. I don't even bother. You have no idea how to make plaster? Well. You buy all your shoe leather? See, leather is something I make. Like, I like, currently, have 121 animals in this fortress, mostly baby elephants, llamas, and dogs, and I'm pretty consistently slaughtering them, and I always have a tannery and then a leather workshop, and, you know, I always end up with a huge amount of leather. Gotta go, your phone's about to die. Oh no, don't let your phone die. You gotta give it some water. Maybe CPR. But you have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. It was good to see you again, Space Pirate. Is when you make porcelain. Yeah, I mean, that's the only real use for it. I don't know. For me, ceramic is almost like mead. It's like there really isn't an actual reason to do it. And like something being valuable in Dwarf Fortress is rarely actually a reason to do the thing. Purely, oh, actually, I screwed this up. Purely because, like, the actual reality is the vast majority of those materials are completely, like, in the grand scheme of things, you can make infinitely more valuable items with just, you know, waiting until a dwarf gets particularly good at making a thing and then mass producing that thing. Ceramic magma safe? I have no idea. Yeah, it's not worth the effort outside of roleplay, really. Which is, I think, one of the biggest shames of Dwarf War. Hey, Mr. Mac, before you ask, your dwarf is dead. You died during the assault of the great fire-breathing kangaroo. No, they're not useless. I mean, they increase the value of things. It's like, nothing is useless in Dwarf Fortress, but nothing really matters. In a world where literally all dwarves need is a muddy room to call a tavern, and a muddy room to call a temple, and beds, and food, and booze, and you can make an infinitely, like, running fortress that will pretty much be happy, and you just seal it off from the outside, and everything is just hunky-dory for all eternity. Like, you really don't need to do anything in Dwarf Fortress. Like, nothing is really necessary. So when it comes to, like, the more complex things and, like, the stuff that you don't need, it's, for me, I sometimes have a hard time justifying it outside of RP reasons. Like, soap is something that I'll go for. You must drink to this. Well, best of luck. I'll drink coffee to this. Cheers. You love the roleplay, you love engraving everything and encrusting gold furniture with rubies and installing them in your library. Oh, absolutely. No, totally. Cheers, feels bad, man. Looks like no ceramic is magma safe in DF. You're just wondering since it's an insulator used to keep high temp kilns in real life. Yeah, I am. Kind of a shame, actually. Actually makes me wonder if you can make forges out of ceramics. Yeah, Kilonite's magma safe. So now that I've got all this hooked up, I can go to this lever. Lava top floodgates. Can start doing that. Because, boy, we got a lot of them to do. And all right, so chat, I think what we're gonna do here is I'm going to put one more piece of wall there, just so that I don't forget. We're gonna make this out of green glass as per usual. Oop. All right, I'm gonna pause the game, and I think it's time for me to go do lunch. So, of course, I'd appreciate it if you stick around. And if you are sticking around, if I could get around to beers, that'd be fantastic. And if you happen to be one of my patrons who has access to sound commands or a tier 2 subscriber, if you could use sound